All right, welcome to the Hoshi podcast. It's been a while. I haven't been, on whatever community or thread you guys have been on recently. I've checked it out yesterday, last night before the podcast, and it's been pretty dead. I don't know what there is left to podcast about, but still, I've been approached by a very old friend who wanted to have a conversation with me. So I thought it was appropriate to bring back the podcast for one episode. Maybe I doubt there's gonna be anybody worth bringing the podcast back for in the future. Yeah, but for all you guys coming in right now into the stream, I thank you guys for coming on, listening to the podcast. Even I don't know what's gonna be on this podcast. I didn't plan anything. I didn't plan any of the topics. All the shit that we're gonna be talking about is completely on our guest. He's going to be the leader of this podcast. He's going to be guiding us through whatever topics. And when we feel as if it's wrapping up, then we're going to wrap up. Of course, we'll be taking some input from the Twitch chat. I got this thing where you could check out what's going on in the Twitch chat while you're in a game or some other window. So I don't have to constantly check my streaming page for the chat. So I got that part of the technical side down. So without further ado, our guest today has been here from from the very beginning. He's been there at prom. He's been there at even the wedding, I think. We'll hear from him about that soon enough. So we are going to bring him in now with the fucking music. Hit the play button. And here is our guest, fucking Seth Rollins on the podcast. Holy shit, I never thought this would happen. Hey Seth, alright, welcome to the podcast.
Damn shit, I couldn't hear that music, I didn't know.
Yeah, well we can't, since you're not on the stream, the Twitch chat right now.
Alright. Well, yeah. Hey, Jay, it's Seth.
Yes, welcome Seth to the podcast. Right now you are live in front of a very huge crowd, 7 fucking people. Oh, look at that crowd.
It doesn't matter, it's the people, my guy.
Look at the crowd. It's a huge crowd right now. 7 fucking people for my podcast. Holy shit. That's like a fucking miracle.
I can hear the horns of an Attitude Era crowd with all the signs and all that shit.
Yes, we have Seth signs. We have the 4 of the game signs, we have Riggins Mania signs, and of course there's more of your signs than there are my signs. That's to be expected.
Oh man, this is gonna be good.
Alright, so how has life been, Seth, recently? Has it been going good?
Oh shit, man, you're asking the big question before all else.
Whoa, what are the small questions, huh? What are the small questions? Besides the topic of average penis size of the average HG Fred lurker, what are the big issues, the big topics in your life right now? How is it going?
Man, there's so much to talk from just the last weeks. I could fucking talk for days about the number of thoughts that has been in my mind ever since I came back. It's cheesy to say, but I almost can still believe that I really come back.
So
for all people, expect lots of swearing, ESL trash, and lots of feels.
Lots of feels. We're gonna get your tissues ready. I got my tissues. And don't everybody have tissues near, like right next to them at this point? Not for tears.
Oh yeah, and I forgot to ask first question first, because it's a podcast for me, but I'm asking the questions because fuck it. Hoshi!
Yes.
On a scale of 1 to 12, how different does my voice sound compared to what you had in your mind?
How different? I would say it's like the different meter. I'd say about a 5. A 5. It's very similar to what I was imagining. I thought that it would sound more Russian or something, or more Italian.
More Francis, maybe, more accent.
Yeah, but like I was kind of there was a little bit of worry. I was gonna go, oh shit, like what if what if fucking like Seth, I can't understand Seth. What the hell is what's gonna be going on if I can't understand Seth? You know, what if he had like an Arabian accent? You know, well, that would be fucked up. It would be a 12 for me in that case.
Well, hey, for that year I've been gone, I've still been practicing my English, although if it's still pretty bad, but hey, I'll do my best. If it's too fucking bad, well, you can blame it on the sleep because I didn't sleep.
Well, contrary to the other people I've had, well, not on the podcast, but when I was generally streaming, well, they had okay English, but I couldn't understand what the fuck they were saying, or maybe the shit they were saying like didn't really have any meaning to it. But I think even despite your slight accent, it's not going to be a problem to the podcast or any sort of conversation. I think you have a lot of big topics that you could bring to the table, and that's what really matters in the end. All you need is a bit of English. You don't need too much of perfect English to get your point across. But thing I want to ask is, you said you came back, but what do you mean specifically? What did you come back from? Where did you go? For what reason did you leave? Let's go for that. From where did you leave?
Alright, so we're gonna... Oh shit. Yeah, we're gonna go deep in that. Oh man. It's hard to say because the reasons I left in July 2017, there's a lot of factors, and it might not be appropriate to start with that because there's a lot of things I need to explain first for people to even start understanding why I left. Because the first thing I'll say is because maybe some people think that, so I need maybe to say that never for 1 second did I stop loving AJ or thinking about it. But I will say that my departure in 2017 was not something that I wanted to do, but that I saw as a necessity. So it's not something you can understand just by saying that. So I think I'll need to cover some things first before that. So if possible, I'd like to actually start with well, the return, because that's what's fresher in my mind.
The return, yes, the return. When did you return?
So I returned like the last day of Secret Ava weekend.
September.
And yeah, September. Yeah, already been 3 fucking weeks. Doesn't fucking feel like it, but anyway, I returned that day without any specific reason, because actually that's what happened. On that day, on Sunday, I fucking finished mounting that fucking PC that I've been needing to build for like 2 years. The one that because my fucking bowling machine died.
Mm-hmm.
In fucking November. Remember when I had to go actually had to go on a balcony in fucking winter to host?
Yeah, for the internet, I think.
Yeah, that shit was so bad. And then that fucking PC took such a ridiculous time to build, because what I did is Yukine was kind enough to let me buy the parts in America, because the prices are completely fucked in this goddamn country. And then I had to pay him, well, for buying the parts. And there was so much bullshit with PayPal and all that fucking horse shit. It's a fucking story in itself, but basically I got the parts for my PC like 5 months later, after I bought them.
Wow, that's long shit.
Yeah. And then once I got them, I still had to fix some shit, because the retard that I am didn't expect that buying parts from America was gonna cause some compatibility issues. So I had to after that I had to go look for different cables and all that shit. And then when I had finally had everything to build that shit, I still needed some other bullshit, fucking screws and all that. And finally, by September, I had everything, and so, well, I just bolted that shit up, And by the time I finished it, it was literally well, fucking Sunday during Secret of our weekend. And basically, the first thing I did was put an OS on that bitch. I loaded up. I fucking download some fucking browser, put the extension, spent 3 hours trying to make autocropper works. It didn't work.
Thanks, I call.
So yeah, thanks, Echo. So I basically say fuck it, we're doing that shit manually, and I literally just opened trash, and I fucking went in there. I fucking went balls deep without thinking about anything else.
Walked right into the secret Avatar weekend, like right
Yeah.
as it was ending or beginning. You said ending.
Yeah, it was ending. Basically, the first game I hosted basically was the end of. So.
Which?
But yeah, man.
Yeah, what was the game before yours?
I think it was DMG.
Poor DMG. Opening for your game.
No, it's cool, man.
It's cool. All right. It's a little competition, huh? But yeah, I wouldn't expect anyone other than DMG because there really isn't, a big pool of hosts right now. So they really need you if they are going to be having any kind of, cycle of fresh games going on.
Yeah, we'll have to address that shit later. I've got some ideas for that and stuff.
All right, still going strong.
But yeah, let's go back to the meat, to the fucking return, because I've got, fuck man, you don't realize the amount of shit I was thinking during that marathon. So basically, I come back, I go in that trade, I fucking host, and I've got my I've got one or two images for the trade based on fucking Evangelion. I don't know if you noticed that. It was literally written like Eva did, with the black background, white fonts, and episode and shit.
Yeah.
Literally the most
Simple.
minimalistic shit you could think of, because I had only MS Paint installed by that point. I literally just had a goddamn browser and a fucking Windows 10 that could barely function.
Takes a
But it
long
was
time to
enough
set
for
up.
me. Yeah, man, I had to when I was done with the marathon, I had to get out all that bloatware shit, man. Fucking hell.
Yeah, man, I can imagine you living in like some fucking Minecraft world. You're looking for all the parts, and you gotta slave a dragon to get your browser working. You have to get all the shit working.
But it felt good, man. I liked hosting that way because, shit, man, it felt so real. But I need to get more details. So basically, first game back, doesn't need to say a lot. I just say, hey AJ, been a while, and that's literally really all I need to say, because at that point, I'm back, and I've got in my mind, well, I'm gonna be there for 24 hours, so
You're gonna do a 24 hours marathon game.
yeah, that's literally all I had in mind, my man. Literally just fucking hosting game for the next 24 hours.
You made a promise a while ago. You said you were going to do it. You never had the chance. Now this is your chance.
Yeah, man, and I'm glad I did now, because honestly, I've got to admit it, I've never been that good at resisting sleep. I mean, I can talk shit about not needing sleep and all that, but it comes down, it's hard when I go past 16 hours or some shit. But right there, when I was in that state of mind, I had all the fucking how could I fucking give a word to that? After you can imagine, after not hosting in a year, I was just so fucking empowered of all the fucking man, I just had all the fucking power to keep hosting till I fucking died or some shit. It was like that. Literally just posting the first roster, man. I was almost shaking, man.
Because you wanted
It was
to
crazy.
get it up so like get it up really bad after all that time.
Yeah, man, you have no fucking idea, man.
How many games did you host after that?
14? Yeah, that's 14.
Wow, holy shit, 14. That's like an hour each.
Yeah, I thought that was more, but hey, old habits die hard. I'm a slow fuck at the end of the day. Even with a new computer, a new fucking internet connection, I still take fucking 5 minutes to type that ESL commentary.
It's fucking long shit, and you know me. I've never been a guy for like long ass commentary. I'm kind of the dude who goes, yeah, just read what the fuck's in the slide. what do you want me to say? But yeah, but big respect to the people who actually put in the commentary. Like not only not just cracking freaking just smart ass jokes or wacky lines because just for the sake of it. Real commentary, in my personal opinion, is the ability to guide the readers through the events that are happening like in order. Like you have to take a look at the slide, you have to remember which tribute had which event and the next one and the next one, and your job as a commentator is to build a story off of that, because anybody can look at an event and have like their own opinion of what happened or what the characters are thinking or what their motives are, but when you really put it into that commentary, it builds a deeper story. Not more than just fucking, just regular jokes and wacky lines. I think you do that really well. I mean, your story is all about revenge and, coming back and the underdog, and your commentary really covers that bit really well.
Yeah, that's pretty much been one of, I dare say, one of the aspect Riggings Mania did the best, is that when I wrote the events, there was a big idea of continuity behind them, and with my commentary I'd be able to link them pretty easily. But yeah, first game back, and
you must have
in my
been,
defense, in my defense, I had to get used to that fucking new keyboard for the first time, so it did take a bit of the minutes, so I've got that excuse. Fucking, that was the first time I tapped with a mechanical keyboard, so now I'm used to it, but when I did that on the 24 hours, that was pretty rough. I was doing so many double keys and all that shit. Oh man, I wanted to fucking smash that thing off my desk.
Mechanical keyboards, feel good though when you after you're done, because regular keyboards just feel like you're pressing on like some fat lady's stomach. Mechanical keyboards are sharp. You click, click, click.
Definitely.
The sounds are great.
That shit feels like
sounds great, feels great. Yeah, I'm glad.
But
yeah, I'm glad you're used to it.
We're still talking over each other, man. We're gonna get the good thing going. Anyway.
So after your game, so you hosted your game. How was the response? What was the reception? Were people excited? I expect people. Holy shit, Seth is back. The games are saved. The fuck Hoshi, all that shit.
Well, there was a lot of fucking fuck, man. I still haven't come back to it because like when I came back, immediately after Death Archive was fucking down for a week, so I like to think that my comeback fucking crashed that shit. And it's probably for the better, so that the insecure facts couldn't check up their names for once.
Yeah, what a coincidence, huh? Even when you're online with without a computer, I bet you're always going to Desu Archive and looking up your name. see what they're talking shit about.
Nah, honestly, man, I'm glad I can say that. Well, I've never been into that shit. It was only like near 2017 when I noticed something real weird, so I needed to check up the archives and my name to find something, to find what's going on. But otherwise, I really can't say that I've never been concerned with that shit. And ever since I came back, I didn't even check that shit once.
Good man, of living for the future. No, not looking back, huh? Not looking back.
Well, I mean, I can pretty much guess what the fucking posts were anyway. I mean, it's what's great with AJ because there's such a mixed response to everything, and I think that's a good thing. Yeah, yeah, there was people that were glad I was back, and I can say that, and there was people that weren't, and all that, and that's what's good because I was glad to find AJ like the way I found it.
Quietly.
Well, I mean, I didn't expect it to change very much, but I was still glad to see just good old AJ.
So how? So a lot of people are saying the big topic in the threads is, well, it's not as good as it used to be, or it's not, it's dead now. All the good people are gone. It's a pretty obvious thing happening in the threads. The way from what I've seen, before I stopped coming there, and last night when I visited for like a few hours. But I think you're the type of guy that it doesn't really matter how it is now. It's always going to be the same when you host. The same excitement, the same energy. Well, whether it's 24 people or 48 people, your games are always going to bring it back right up to that bar. And I think a lot of people have noticed that your games have that effect on the threads. So how do you feel about how it used to be and what it's like now? If you're going to make any comparisons between the two.
Well, I've never been one to bring up the past much or circle jack about, oh man, I miss B so much and all that shit, because to me it's kind of ridiculous at this point to say, well, AJ is dead, because that shit has already pretty much surpassed everyone's expectation of it being alive. And at this point it's just ridiculous to ask the same question for the 100th time again. It's gonna keep going, whether it's me, whether I'm gone, whether you're gone, whether fucking anyone else is gone. This shit's gonna keep going, man. It's a fucking part of for me it's pretty much 4chan culture at this point. But really, to me, it's not that different from back then, because it's always been about people and how much they're willing to invest themselves, man. Because some people really need a reality check on things, because if people seriously think B was some sort of 24-hour game machine, then I really wish the B archives were undead, so people could see how fucking dead it was at the time.
Yeah, it wasn't that active. It wasn't like 24 hours. What was different? Like, people think they have this really simplistic view on what an active community or an active HG community is. They think it's games 24/7, like, whether it's default, whether people add filler, if there's just a game, then it's all fine. Like, the bar has been lowered to that point where in the past, when it was really good, I would add, and I'm never gonna change my stance on that. Well, in the past, when it was decently good, there were games, but people appreciated them more. The spots were more valued. You didn't just give away spots because it took a lot to get that spot. You had to roll for your spots. Getting in there was a competition. You got in, you didn't get in, and even if you did get in, there's like a competition. The rolling was the game before the game, and that made the game more valuable. That made the winning more valuable. The top 4 tributes, the end game was more valuable. Back then, when everybody sat down and watched the last few slides of the game, they didn't leave and come back until the game was finished, or there was a new entry right after the game. They sat down, they watched the last 4 tributes, even if they weren't their own tributes. They sat down and cheered for whoever they liked, and it was basically like a feeling of camaraderie and community. It wasn't about, oh, this sucks or that sucks, or this person hates that person, and oh, who's this, who's that, who's playing this. It didn't really matter back then. All that mattered, what mattered the most was the game, how the characters replied to the slides. There wasn't like this big divide between RP fags and game fags, and People put in their effort. Even if it wasn't like the best looking game, like the slides weren't very well colored. Their backgrounds weren't that good, or their events weren't that great. It was like really the sincerity and the innocence of the community at the time, and just the way everybody got along, that and how games were the focus and how games were important. And no matter how bad like the other parts of the community got, you could always come back to the game, and everybody could sit like around the game, like the game was like a campfire, and just to enjoy the game. Even if we hated each other, we could sit down and enjoy a good game. But nowadays, that's kind of difficult too, because first of all, there's not a lot of people left anymore. There's like a very small pool of hosts, and it's gotten very meta to the point where even the users, the players are kind of wise to, this event's shit, that event's shit. Their suspension of disbelief has really teetered off, and it's like really cynical right now as a community.
Well, I think there's a lot of explanations for all those development, and to start with, the cynical and the innocence. Well, that follows pretty much how 4chan as a whole evolved over the years, and the whole fucking ironic shitposting. It's all about being more ironic than the other guy, and it just keeps to a point where it just gets ridiculous. But now it's pretty much the standard of shitposting, and that makes for this. Yeah, I really fucking dislike the fucking irony shit and the contrarian and all that, because here's the thing. The reason there's a lot of shitposting right now, compared maybe to back then, was that a lot of it is reactionary. Like, people feel like they have some sort of fucking duty, that if someone gets praised, they somehow feel like they have the holy mission of having to say, yeah, no, this guy is shit. Like, they have to balance things, and it's pretty
as
much
all things should be.
And it's because, well, it's not wrong in itself, but if there's one unspoken truth in there, is that back then, I still vividly remember it, is that the host, when you were hosting, you felt like you're still your fucking Ava and all that, but hosting was seen as a very prestigious thing, so nobody will really be a bitch about it, because, well, you take on that role and shit. If someone gave you props, no one's was gonna be a faggot and say, yeah, no, this guy is shit, because whatever were reasons to be on edge and all that, we all contributed to the same goal, and all wanted to see AJ keep on living. But now there's, I'm not sure I can explain it myself, because I want to find out how some people got like that, but the whole fucking jaded bullshit, I think it's exaggerated to a point, but at the same time, there's this, I don't know why fucking people feel like they have to be a fucking contrarian for everything and all that shit. And it's still buzzing my mind at time, but
My theory is people come into the community at a very late stage, and they don't really have any knowledge on how it used to be. And when people keep talking about standards and it used to be this, it used to be that, it kind of forms a chip on their shoulder, like the community was okay when I got in. I'm not going to believe it was better. That's just the people who don't like it right now and are trying to ruin it by changing it. And I'm going to make sure that it stays this way, if not, to the extreme. So I'm going to attack and disagree and tear down people who try to bring anything like traditional to what the Freds used to have, and basically ignore what you don't like. Make sure other people know to ignore that, and keep it the way it is. Keep it no new people unless they all agree with me. And it's basically a very toxic and stagnant culture they're building on that kind of. Even if I didn't like people, I never said they shouldn't host. They should host. Like they should go ahead and do it, even if I say don't, because if all it takes for me for you to give up is me saying don't, or you're shit, or you should improve, then you didn't really have anything going in the first place. But yeah, that's basically the issue as I see it. Like, people are going to fight for what they have. They have a group, they have a faction of people who agree with each other, and they have built a stronghold within the Fred culture, and they're going to attack. They're going to attack the people that are different. People they fear are going to bring like numbers away from them. Like, if they see someone agreeing with somebody they dislike, that's like a real threat to them. They can't deal with that, because they're used to just people agreeing with them because they think it's right. But if like a contradicting thing comes up, like if this community really was a community just about the games, then even if you hosted like the best games, you should be well accepted, unless if you've done some really, really horrible shit, like harm people in real life. But unless it's not that, then you should be generally accepted. But we have this habit of identity politics where if it's someone I like, or someone I circle jerk with, or someone that needs to be protected because there's some victim of something you were a victim to, then even if their games aren't really that great, or that quality, they're going to defend it. And if somebody has a quality game but they're disliked, they're going to attack that quality game. So the whole like free market of improvement and hosting good games has completely gone down to shitter, because it's not about hosting the best games. It's not about giving your best to the community. It's no longer about hosting the best games and bringing in like the most people and like really hitting home that entertainment value. Because if they don't like you, they don't want you. And if you're here to change what they're used to, here to change what they've tried so desperately to protect, you're a threat. They're going to attack you, and they're going to try to drive you away. I think that's what you're seeing here in the current community.
Well, the thing is, those people that does that shit, there's still edgy facts at the bottom of it, and the fact there's still, to me, there is no doubts in my mind that shit posting is like some sort of it's like they're trying to find something by doing that shit posting,
like a meaning.
Because because the fact that they do that, to me, that's still a proof that AJ matters to them. There's no doubts about it. If they really fucking didn't care about AJ, like they'll claim in their shitposting, they won't just be here at all. The fact they're here still means to me that there's something that they're seeking, but it's not necessarily fucking shitposting for days, but it's their own way of expressing themselves. But it's complicated. I've got some theories about some of that shit, but it's maybe a bit too early to get into that.
You said like they still care about HG, but I think it's very important that we define what HG means. Is HG the group of people that are currently in the threads? Because they might see the community how it was before, and they see all these people that they dislike, that they've now driven away or they've left. And HG has now become the group of people, and not necessarily the games or the RP or anything that really made the old HG good. They're here to protect the status quo. They're group of people. I think that's very important to define, whether HG means how it is now or what the values are of the games. The values of the games are very important, I would say.
Well, to me, in all honesty, in itself, the concept of edgy hasn't changed. It's game, it's RP, and it's shitposting. It's like the three things. I'd made one fucking image of that shit where I'd like a color. I don't know if you remember. I showed it to you once. It was the color shit, and there was fucking Well, I don't know if you remember it, but it was basically the theory of hosting role playing and
The three pillars of HG.
Huh?
The three pillars of
Yeah.
HG. If you master
I mean-
all three pillars, then you become an old fag. The master, the three arts of fucking HG.
But yeah, to me, the concept of edgy in itself hasn't changed. Now, what's valued more than other aspects may be what's maybe how some people see that and what referred to as modern edgy. Now that's maybe true. There's the three aspects aren't valued at the same level right now.
But they sure are used like differently than they're valued. Like the games are the most valued, RPs is like the middle value, and shitposting is like publicly the most looked down upon. But if you look at the reality of it, they shitpost the most. They kind of RP, and the games are pretty like slow right now. It's pretty funny picture to look at.
Either way, edgy definitely can't live or be edgy at all. If there's one of those three aspects that's missing, because if you look at AJ's story and you take out one of the aspects entirely, then
It stops
don't-
being HG.
I don't see AJ existing at all past fucking B if any of the three is removed. Like, imagine you have three timelines. You have one it's hosting role playing, you have one it's hosting shit posting, and you have one it's role playing and shit posting.
That's ERP, Seth. It's called ERP.
Yeah, I don't know about that stuff, man. So I can't say anything. But if you look at the three timelines, for me they don't go past fucking B or AGA, man. The thing I'm concerned about HG is for it to have a consequential history, and the three aspects always made it so that if one happens, then it allows the other to bounce back on it and shit like that. Because to me, if you imagine a fucking AJ without annons, you have just games and role playing all day. There's no fucking humanity in that. It doesn't fucking work. We're just fucking robots at this point. You know?
People who do want that, try to reach that.
And if there wasn't some of the shit posting that happened, it wouldn't have made some people realize some things and value other things over it and all that. Like the fucking sanctuarium. Let's talk about fucking Sank for a minute.
All right. Well, what do you have to say about that?
Sank, when it fucking leaked, I remember very vividly. The way the threads were after it was leaked was like one of the most depressing time I'd ever seen AJ like, and I think Sank getting leaked was a wake-up call for me, at least, to really I need to finish my fucking game and get in there and fucking change things. So to me, every event in itself is linked to each other, and they have results on each other. But some people won't admit that some events link to that and all that. But to me, you definitely can't. I definitely can't picture an AGA without one of the three aspects. It's like that, and I'm pretty and honestly, I'm fine with. Now it's whether people and how they value and how much importance they put into other aspects. Like we were talking about shitposting. The problem is not shitposting. The problem is people giving more value to shitposting than it really needs to.
Wow, you heard it here, folks. Seth said shitposting is important, and he's fucking defending shitposting. We should drive him out of the community next time he hosts the game. Everybody, get your gay porn folders ready. Get ready to shitpost by your 4chan passes. He's coming. I'll let you guys know when he's hosting the game, so you could all shitpost his game out of the fucking 4chan threads. Thank you. This has been the Hoshi podcast. I'm just kidding. Yeah, but you know what's hilarious? I started Sank because. Yeah, those threads were really shit, and the old fags are gone. I mean, I was trying to build like something with the people that are already gone, so I don't see what the fucking point is. But I made the mistake of suggesting shit posting, like as like kind of like a banter kind of thing. Like, wow, we should just shit post people back into the community at this point. And then there was a big saying was a place for discussion. Like people disagreed with the shit posting idea that I just threw out there, and they said no. So I agreed. I agreed to them. I said that's right. You don't really need to shit post, and the people are going to come to where the good games are. So let's just keep working on all our games and make sure we come back and have this place where all the old fags are back and they're doing what they used to do really well. But then the biggest irony of the entire the fiasco of it is they leaked the board because they said I was going to shitpost. And then the board was leaked and everybody freaked out. And guess what happened for like the next 3 days? The people that were amazed that I said I was going to shitpost, like maybe shitposted the threads themselves for several days, which is really hilarious. Like nothing could be done, They wanted, they were attack after attack, and they were basically being the thing they said they were fighting against. So I don't think anybody really has a say in, I think nobody can really claim they were correct in that entire situation, because that's a very ironic story.
But I remember that, and that's why I fucking...
Yeah, that's why it's depressing.
To focus on my game, because it not only was it depressing, but it was infuriating in a way. But it's not surprising that it went that way. But
it's become like it used to be a big blood sport.
What? A
blood sport. Where the entire point is to hunt people down and bring them down and snipe them. Attack them until they're gone or whatever.
But to go back on the value of shitposting in EG, and now with that topic, I can go and talk about my departure in 2017, because it's related to something I tried to do along with other factors. But either way, the problem with shitposting is not that it's a thing, it's the fucking, and it's not either the problem that you of ignoring it, because in truth you can't ignore shitposting. You can say you do, but you still read it, and whether you like it or not, you think constantly about it or not, it's still on your mind. So you can't just say you're gonna ignore it, but you have to value it in another way, and for that to happen, you have to be desensitized from it. I don't know if I said it right, but
desensitized. Yeah, you have to be classy.
Yeah, that's that. And that's something I tried to do with near the end, my last day on HG, because back on summer 2017, when in June and fucking July, I made a lot of weird posts. I was starting to have some sort of fucking Reagan's Rollins thing, where I was posting like as two different Seths, and along with that, it was all an idea that I wanted people to stop fucking taking shitposting seriously, because they'd see how ridiculous that shit really is, and I thought I could do that because, man, I don't fucking give a shit about that. I can never has a fucking shitpost affected me. So I thought maybe if I tried to embody that shit for a second, do my fucking bamboozle, and just show how fucking ridiculous shitposting really is, by fucking using this schizophrenia shtick between the two Seths. And I thought maybe people would stop giving a shit about it happening themselves. I mean, since I was, because of doing that shit, I was getting most of the shit posting attention. Because what happened was there was a really pretty smart bunch that saw that they will never fucking get me out of AJ with fucking personal shit posting. So they started that very that ironic cocksucker uh, um, what did they call it? SDF? That Internet Defense Force? Where
Oh
they
yeah,
were just
Internet
fucking,
Defense Force, IDF. Yeah,
yeah,
Seth IDF.
yeah.
I'm
And they were
a
just
proud member.
and they were just sucking my dick fucking non-stop. That's when I had to use this word and see the amount of shit there was. And obviously all of it was ironic. But that was the smart thing to do, because if they could not affect me personally, they would just make sure that everyone's pissed off about my existence. And that's when in those last days that I realized that my own character uh, was gonna be a problem for HG. And so when I realized that, and I realized I wouldn't have many time left, I tried to play along with that shit and be and show just how stupid that shit got. And Tooth, maybe if I did that, just fucking because when I said I didn't give a shit, it wasn't that I didn't give a shit about AJ. It was that I didn't give a shit about whatever I'd need to do with that character to.
People wanted you to be Seth, but you wanted to be something else for a change.
No, it's just I didn't give a shit at what I had to sacrifice with that character if it meant that AJ would be better off of it.
Oh, so you want to throw away your old persona, like to abandon the past. So yeah, I think we've all tried to do that at one point.
So I did that fucking schizophrenia shit. I tried to show people.
You try to play Randy Orton.
No, but really show how stupid that shit got. And I thought maybe instead of people ignoring shit posting, they'd see shit post, but they wouldn't care, because no fucking shit posting is really matters when you see just how fucking ridiculous Seth takes that shit. And I thought that. Obviously, I guess it didn't really work, so I had to go with Plan B and fucking make sure that some things will go the way I expect them to go, even when I'm gone. That's where the whole Asgore betrayal thing comes in, and where I pulled a literal.
Was that real, or did you like? Well, I don't know if you say this on air, but was it like a work? Did you guys agree to do this, or was Asgore really hurt by Senpai?
No. I didn't tell Asgore about that shit, because he needed that more than anybody.
Oh, he needed to bring him down. he needed the spear.
No, but Asgore at that time needed. Asgore basically was to me the guy that had the most potential to carry that shit.
Yeah, of course. Of course he was, yes.
But if he didn't have some sort of fucking event or wake up call,
like a trauma,
I was afraid that he would just go the way out of like that fucking toothless guy, that new fact that everyone called the savior, but he quit because shit posting, no? I just didn't want Asgore to fucking leave because of some stupid
because like, you know, become an idol, like some kind of like the avatar for these anti whatever people. They're gonna use your character for their own agendas. You didn't want it to become that, is what you're saying?
Yeah, in a way maybe, but either way, what happened with Asgore is that he didn't know shit, obviously, but I just didn't want to see that guy get fucking leave AJ, because it'd be a fucking
Become
loss.
jaded. Well, it's too late. he's jaded as fuck. He's gone. He's out there. He's like me 2 years ago. He's on the brink. Well, he's a nicer guy than me, so maybe he'll, you know, last long. Maybe he won't even change at all. But yeah, looking at him, he's not as passionate as he used to be. Because when you're hosting, you get all this attention, you get all this love. Because we're not doing this for money. We're not really doing this for you know, for like to get paid. You know, nobody's paying us to host these games. We're spending hours and hours of our time to make something for these groups of people, and I don't think we're necessarily asking for fame or to get our dicks sucked, like, you know, lip service. Or I think we just want people, like, enough people to enjoy the games that we host, and that's really enough. You know, maybe a little bit of a pat on the back is a good reward for hosting these games, but I think the people in HG fail to do is they fail to elicit a positive response, a bit of enthusiasm from the host these days, because even if they do host, they don't really get, like, they get the kind of treatment that everybody got. Like, back then when you hosted, you got, like, people said thanks, but it was like, it felt like the thanks was for you and not something that people just said for the sake of it. And that reward of that very personalized response to your games is, I think, the reason people really get into it and start building for their audience, not like the HG audience, but their audience. Because when you host a game, it's like, not, it shouldn't be just HG, it should be the audience, it should be your HG. Every host, when they host, they should have a turn where the community is just theirs, because that's what the games are. You become the center of attention for an hour or two, and after all that work, after all that, you know, labor, that 1 hour of your time where people make you feel special while you're giving them entertainment is really the biggest thing a host has, if not inspiring other hosts and leaving behind, like, some kind of legacy for the community. But, you know, right now it's what you said. It feels like just a bunch of robots. You know, we're just the Fred simulator at this point. That's what it feels like when I look at it.
Hey, now don't twist my words. I said that the fucking robot thing will be an edgy without
shit posting.
Literally no anon post at all.
With no anon posts.
Well,
yeah,
it's actually.
I think
it's the opposite. Edgy, right now on trash at least, it always feels there's humanity in there. I mean, compared to AGI was the real fucking robot factory, but anyway, it's not. Let's not get too lost in our topics. I need to keep a narrative, otherwise I'm just gonna. There's too much things I need to talk about.
All right, what's next on the list, Seth? What do you have?
I just need to clear up the Asgore thing, and really explain the reasons of my.
Why did you touch Asgore in that place? Show me on the dial where you touched Asgore.
Because look, when I was when I started noticing the ironic cocksuckery that was happening with me, well, I had to check this archive to find the source of that. And when I checked my name on there, I found about some post, and mostly, you know, man, people could fucking tell they'd be fucking happy if I died or some shit. That shit doesn't even come close to making me feel as irritated as I felt when I saw Asgore literally calling himself a Seth dog. That shit pissed me off. That shit really did piss me off. But it's I don't know. I can't completely say how he is now. But at the time, Asgore needed a fucking bone in the back, because otherwise he was just gonna get fucking interned in there. So, if one thing I could do right, if I could do at least one thing right with that character and that fucking perspective that Asgore out of me, if at least I could fucking get him to step up and get this fucking idea out of his head that he could not be better than me. If I could fucking help him
reach his potential to be better than us.
Yeah, well, that was the idea. I wanted him clearly. So if I could at least do that with that fucking with what fucking Seth was at this point in time in AJ and how he was perceived, if at least I could do one thing right, then I will do it in a heartbeat. So I pulled off a fucking Lelouch 0 Air 2 ending on him out of nowhere, and I know at first I can imagine that he didn't take it well, but I think it was something necessary, and I hope that it fucking and I think it showed results, that I got to, you know, be the one to to get him to stop to have a. He needed an ego. He needed an ego, man.
He needed independence. He didn't need to be, you know, he doesn't have to live up to all these big names.
Yeah, because there was a time when Asgore was, yeah, it was the what you just said. He had some fucking uh, how he was perceived. He obviously, man. I mean, nobody can blame it. He start when everybody starts. It's I can't say it's natural for people to worry about how they're seen and all that, but if he wanted to be on there, to be at the top, he needed to stop worrying about little shit like that, and for that he needed something. So
I think people
I did that.
just saw him as the next poster boy for like the old fags. Like, this is like chosen person for the old fags to take over, and the general acceptance and the treatment he got that really differs from the average new fag or the new person in the community. I think that garnered a lot of negative attention because, like, old fags, the image of old fags in the community isn't like exactly the best thing. So if you're like associated with that kind of, you know, person, you're never really gonna escape that. And even though Asgore was new, even though he could have like not been a part of that, I think like we interfered too much with his activity as he was starting to take his place in the community. I think that's why even himself, because even if it's like ironic memes, they're kind of like a way to express like a reality, because we like people, like, we think when we're posting, like, shit posting ironically, you know that meme people post, that image where even ironic shit posting is shit posting. Like, what that gets into is, even if we shit post with a meaning, even if we like draw this like big piece of, make this big piece of art for people to look at and appreciate and have a different idea, what they basically see in the end is this person is just here being like pushing his own ideas onto us, like forcing it onto us. He's just being disruptive, and I'm not going to really look into the meaning of what he's doing because first off, it's disruptive to me. So I think in the opposite way, when they were ironically posting about how, well, about your character as Seth, and how Asgore was saying he was like a Seth dog, I think they were trying to express something, even if it's just ironic memes. I think there's a deeper meaning within those memes. A representation of how the reality was. Because I think when what Asgore said when he was saying he was a Seth dog is maybe he was just going along with the memes without really thinking about it. Maybe he didn't really put that much thought into it. Maybe he just said it off the top of his head. But if there really was meaning, I think it was based on the reality that these people don't really perceive him as something. Even it would be better if he himself believed he was something, you know, different from you. But I think the community, even if he did, I don't think the community would have accepted him as something separate. And I think even like HG is like this place where it doesn't really work when you yourself believe it. Everyone has to believe it. That's the only way it becomes legitimized. I think Asgore saw that the community was going to look at it any other way. So I think he basically was, you know, he was forced into a state of mind where he just basically gave up. And he said, well, yeah, I'm a Seth dog. And the reaction, your reaction to that, I think, kind of, I don't know if he went on the right path or the path you were intending. But what would you say? Did it work? Like, looking at him now, like his activity now, do you think it worked in the long term?
It's always the thing where you wonder where if the if the influence you had on things and what resulted from that was really better than if you hadn't interfered at all. But basically, the reason behind all that is that to go back even further in time, it was us, the two of us, Hoshi, that went on B and saw this new group of fags that was like the second coming of AG. It was like us back at the back in our LG with Capra, Kaz, Squizgar, and all those guys, and they reminded us how we used to be just
Yeah, like
a year ago.
people were excited about events I thought were shit because of how I thought the our community would receive it. Like a suicide event, that shit, like, that's a death sentence for your games. Like, if you have that shit, people are going to tear your ass apart. But these people, like, they saw a suicide event and they were like, oh my god, like, how much emotional stress was this tribute feeling towards the end of the game that he just gave up. And they were mourning him, they were feeling emotional, they were like they were pressing like real capital bold F's. And that shit blew my mind. It reminded me, like, oh wow, I really did forget like what the events were supposed to be, or how people used to react to them, and how it felt when they really took the game seriously and not just, oh, that was a good event, oh, that's a good event, maybe I should have that event, oh, I have an event idea. You know, people thought it was real. They didn't. It was more than just a set of codes and events and images and just text. You know, I think that's where the magic is. When you could take the simulator, have some images, have some text, and you could write a story with that. You could have some fucking big moments with that. You could have like something emotional going with that. I think that was a big pull. It was like it was like a drug. Like the reason they think like purity in drugs is really important is because the more pure it is, the more addictive it is, and the more people are going to buy it. I think that's the difference between, you know, the B people and the people in our community from when we hosted.
But either way, when we got on there and then we got on Discord and that, in a way, our goal beyond that was to get them in our AG. We're not gonna deny that, right?
Yes.
And when we did that, well, I kind of saw it as my responsibility to not basically have Asgore fucking. Well, I didn't want him to live a worse AG than he would have if we just had never fucking come into their community. So what happened with Asgore is that compared to everyone else I talked to, I always was kind of harsher with him in our talks. Mm-hmm. It was like I tried to give him an idea that of all AG could be. So I took that upon myself to act like a bit harsher and to show him that AG could get real fucking petty at times with shit posting and all that. So to make sure that if it was me that was telling him that was showing him that, night of maybe it will go better than if it would have been, well, just people in general, and then there maybe would have, I don't know, he maybe wouldn't have seen a reason to host for these people. But maybe if it was me that was doing it, then I thought he will accept that better, because there was a time where Asgore, he was shit posting. He couldn't fucking stand it, man. It was a big no for him, big lawful guy. You know, it was that. So, but there was gonna be a time where that vision of his, it was gonna change at one point anyway, because I didn't expect him to host one fucking year on Edgy and to still be the same guy that he was when I first met him. So I tried, in a way, to prepare things the best way for him to last on there. And I don't know, and now that's what I'm wondering, because I don't know how Asgore exactly is right now, what happens in that year. I didn't fucking read all the posts he made since the last time we talked and all that. But I will say that, well, I don't know, man, but also one reason you could say that I come back is that because I still feel that there's a responsibility on my shoulders about that. Like, it's hard because the way I was thinking when I did that, when I had this this idea of making things go into that direction. And now it's a different thing, because back then when I did that with Asco, when I tried to prepare some kind of path for him to to carry that shit while I'm gone, because I was myself afraid that at one point in time I was gonna become an interference for AG, that I will do more bad than good if I stayed on AG. Even if I meant good, my character, my fucking existence wasn't gonna do AJ any good. So I thought maybe the best way to help at this point was to technically not help at all. That even if I fucking hated having to fucking leave, but hey, at that point in time I thought there was better people to carry that shit, and I did, my time was done. I'd done the things I could do.
I think you left your mark.
It's more like I'd fucking done what I was, in my mind, what AG expected me to, and even if I wanted to do more, I couldn't do, you know? It's like, it was like that. If I basically was still on AG during that whole year, with Asgore and hosting, and the other people that was hosting at the time, for me I was just gonna fuck up something. I was gonna be, it wasn't gonna do AG any good. So I tried to fucking prepare things, get things in motion for AG to, for the greater goal, really. I would have fucking sacrificed anything if it meant AJ will do good, even if it meant sacrificing my own fun. So that's the whole story behind the Asgore betrayal and the reason I left.
I remember Asgore when I first saw him. He was from the new B community, and it was very interesting because that's what I wanted to start. You know, that's what I was like thinking. Like, if I could start like a new like plant a seed and grow kind of like a new plant of people, a new community on B. But it happened on its own, and all these people came together and they were enjoying these default games and they were writing their own codes, and it was kind of like watching what we were like back in time. And they even went like as far as to have their own version of primetime games where they were hosting tournaments and they were making big events out of it.
Team battles.
Yeah, team battles, and Asgore was like in at the front line of hosting them. And I never really intended Asgore to come join our side of the Hunger Games. During our talks, I was trying to guide him towards building his own community. Like, I've made a lot of errors, I've made a lot of mistakes, I did a lot of things I shouldn't have, but I did anyway because, you know, fuck it. So I told him all of the stuff I know, and I think he was receptive. You know, I think he understood a lot of things that really normal people wouldn't, and I don't know if he was talking to you at the same time, but I think the difference between Asgore and the other people back in that community was he had a good taste for RP. I remember saying that he was going to leave his old community and come join us because he liked our style of games better. And you know, if I had like a choice, I would, you know, I think his community needed him more than we needed him. Don't you think?
Well, about the RP thing, well, I've never been. It wasn't the thing I noticed about Asco. It's just that the thing I noticed about him was that he had just a witty way of writing events, and I just thought he could make a good game. But you know, just it's
like taking a piss on an electric fence.
Oh man,
that was like that's the only thing I have a problem with Asgore. That's like the one thing. I'm fine with him, like everything else, but that one event. Like all my anime girls were dying to that event. Holy shit.
Hey, says the man whose first event was player one masturbates in public.
That shit worked back then, yo. That worked. That shit worked. Times change, Seth. The games evolve. That was like a leg. Like the first, like that was like the first thumb. It may be a fucked up looking thumb, but it gets better as time goes on. Yeah. So.
Also the most RPable event of all time. These aren't government secrets you're eating. It was something like that.
Oh yeah, But that's not whatever. Those are government secrets. And it's like player one can melt steel beams now. That was like an event where I just saw a stupid Winnie the Pooh meme and I was like, oh, that should be an event. Yeah, I fucking didn't try back then because back then there was no event saving. You had to put all the events in before you hosted a series of games. So before every hosting session during prime time, I would get up early in the morning and put 100 events or so into the simulator before I hosted. That's why I hosted 5 games at a time because it was a waste if I didn't. Yeah, so good times. It was like that back then. People have all these tools, all these advantages, all these basically life hacks to hosting, all this information, help, and people who know the craft, and it's just really disappointing. It was like it's not as good as when we didn't have those tools. It's better now, so why aren't the games better too? Maybe there's something else fucked up about this entire picture that we're just not seeing.
Oh yeah, I'll talk about this weird paradox that even though hosting is easier than ever, it's not the games for the amount of tools and freedom you have to host. The amount of games that should live up to that isn't there. I'll talk about that later. And about Asco, I'll go back to him when we do the official shit talking.
You guys,
tour
you guys, maybe I should have you two on and talk it out. Maybe I should step aside and let you two do a podcast or something.
No, because
you shy?
While I got things to say about Asco, I've got a lot of things to say about every other AvaFX, man. Even if you think that I don't have a thing to say about you, you'd be surprised at the amount of different ways I feel about so many people. One of the reasons I love AG about.
Seth has a big folder of your porn of our avatars. Hey, yeah, I know, Seth, I know.
Oh fuck, it cut off at the moment you were saying it.
I know, Seth, I know you have a folder.
Of
lewds of other people's avatars. I know you have one. Hey, that laugh, hey. Yeah, but good, besides Asgore, is there anybody else you would like to, have a say about? Anything you would, thought was left unsaid before you left?
Well, I think I don't know if I specifically owe someone explanation or it was just Asgore because of the fucking because I really needed to tell him about the reason behind that post. But otherwise, I don't know if there are people out there who expect answers from me or something. But I definitely can say that I've got lots of things to say about everyone. So maybe I'll answer questions indirectly. Maybe.
All right, well, I might do some questions from the Twitch chat. There's like 9 people, I guess. All right, Twitch chat. If you're listening, we are taking questions now. So if you post a question, I will ask Seth, and he will give you an answer. But while you're posting questions to Seth, also, if you want Seth to say something about you, you better post your avatar name, because I can't tell with these Twitch names. I'm not going to read your question if you don't post your avatar name with your question, asking about yourself or whatever else. So while the questions are coming up, I'll ask you a few questions first. You do know I left HG, right?
Yeah, that's what I've come to understand by now.
Yeah, fucking with I don't know, it just teetered out. I just lost my gas. I stopped even shit posting and just starting shit and engaging shit posters. It basically I'm sorry if this is taking up the time that you wanted to take, But it's like it's a podcast where I haven't been on in the threads for months, and then I came back, and I think people are like, oh, so Hoshi's just fine. Well, I think a little bit of explanation is needed for people who care. I don't think people care, but during like the last,
I wanna know.
You wanna know? All right.
That's why I wanted to talk with that.
I see. You want to hear me too. The fucking people are gonna the viewer count's gonna drop from right now.
Hey, before this is a podcast, this is, to me at least,
a conversation. Yeah.
A conversation.
Yeah, like when this first started, like people like have these big ideas about Hoshi, the fucking big shit poster. He's a horrible person. He's a piece of shit and whatever. Well, it's okay for you to think that. It's like your opinion, and if that's your version, like, I know what it feels like to hate somebody and like how pleasurable it can be. So if I'm that person that you get to hate and post things about and post that gotcha post and it makes you feel good, then I think that's your right to enjoy that. And I think I'm glad to be that person. Well, basically a lolcow, as people say it, and they didn't know that word existed until the Encyclopedia Dramatica articles, so they learned a new word from that. So that's pretty nice of them. I appreciate the, I guess the love. I would say in a sense. When HG first started, before HG, I was doing all kinds of different things. I was writing fan fictions, making music remixes, doing like beat maps for Stepmania or whatever. I was working as a editor on some visual novel crew, which was canceled because the guys basically stopped working on it and they started circle jerking, obviously. I needed something to do in my free time, and I needed something to give something to. Like I needed a project, and HG was like the biggest project like for me at the time. I saw a game and I thought it was fun. I tried it, and it was like nothing like I've ever seen before. Like the community exploded. I was like a big name there, and I don't think I was prepared for that because it was my first time, like basically being like at the forefront of any community, like having a good say in anything. Mistakes were made, but even though a lot of shit went bad, I still cared about the games, and I still cared about that idea of somebody enjoying them despite all this shit and inspiring them to make their own games. And I think the big thing for people like big hosts here is they want to leave something behind, like a new person to carry on while they're gone. Because as a host, where you're carrying the majority of the hype and the games in the community, you worry about what will happen if you leave. Like that hole, nobody will be able to fill in that hole. So it's your responsibility to find someone who can take your place, or before you leave, or leaving just becomes like something very irresponsible for you to do. With all the drama and shit going on, my efforts to improve the community, to improve the games, were always impeded by my inability to sit quietly in a room by myself and not start shit, which was pretty pleasurable for me. I always need conflict in my life to get any kind of enjoyment out of it, like a thrill. As time went on, I noticed the games were deteriorating, or maybe my standards were indeed high for people coming in at the time, and I know it was very intimidating to some people to live up to those expectations that I was setting along with a few other people, and it did get very hateful. And I was very ignorant back then of this hard love of saying, well, this Spartan method of teaching that didn't really work for everybody in general. So basically, that really brought the community down. So, if nobody else is going to take responsibility for it, I will say, even though people won't ever admit to me saying this, or say, oh, he's just lying, or he's never said anything, or he's never apologized. Well, I have apologized several times in the past, and I think it was the same as you in the efforts that I wanted to make people realize that shitposting is just this goofy thing and you shouldn't really take it seriously. But that really backfired on my end, and I caused this big I was responsible for some of the big splits in the community that really got in the way of my efforts of I mean, nobody cares if you have the cure for cancer. If you're like a child molester or something, nobody's going to, they're going to use your cure, but they're never going to give you credit for it. They're going to try to erase you out of history. I think that's the kind of situation I found myself in over my duration. But even after all that shit, I still tried to squeeze out like events for my sense of responsibility. Like, I had this idea that we could go back if we just push a little bit in that direction. But as time went on, I realized that more and more of that, it wasn't really going to happen. People were moving on to other things. New people coming in weren't really stepping up to what things used to be. People were tired of the same, formula over and over again. And I've tried writing new codes. I've trying to spice it up a bit with the win cards and thinking of new events. You can't really bring back old events when the people right now in the community don't remember them at all. I mean, there's why bring back the Avengers when nobody knows about the Avengers? Just an example. So the more and more time passed by, I started that vision of fixing things. If I could give, even with my posting and the way I start shit, as they say, if I gave back enough, maybe that'll be okay to make things okay. Because in my mind, shit posting and shit talking, it wasn't really as important. But people, I didn't realize people took it really seriously. And I don't know if shit posting actually bothers some of those people, but they like to use that as an attack on people they don't like. Even if it doesn't bother them personally, if they could use it to rally a force against someone they don't like, they sure as hell are happy to pretend to be offended and willing to use that as a victim card to push their narrative. Yeah, so basically I realized no matter how hard I tried, it wasn't really going to change. My time to change things was over, and basically my options were to keep hosting these default my old games that really they're pretty dead. With my time zone, I can't really get up in the morning to host those primetime games anymore. I didn't even have the drive to do that. And what really hit it home for me, I stopped enjoying hosting a long time ago. I did out of obligation to show people that making these kinds of win screens where it's animated is possible and it's easy, and even someone a dummy like me can do it. I could, you could have these backgrounds, you could have fun events like these, and these events can be fun, and you could use comment. I wanted to be a good example, but what was really surprising is people didn't use that as an example. It was oh, Hoshi and his standards again. It became that. So even my efforts in that area were kind of snuffed out. I said before earlier in this podcast, the community is really having a hard time with giving people positive reinforcement and making them feel like they're doing something important, even though they're not really. They're doing something anybody would do. But that's the only way they're going to reach a point where they're they're going to start doing things that are actually matter. They're going to bring up some new event or some new style or some new theme everybody's going to enjoy. But there's a lack of that here. There's a lack of making people feel like they matter, because it's a big sin if somebody gets relevant because of hosting. Somebody's going to be there to tear you down. You're not special, you're one of us. Stop trying to be an old fag. The games are fine as it is. You don't need to work that great. Just use codes. Basically the entire culture of that of the community went in that direction, the direction I didn't want it to go. I wanted people to value the games more and more, but as time went on, I think separate from my personal stuff, it just started to become this fucking chore for people. It became a work. It became just a game. People stopped having special names for their games, which is really just this default game, and the win cards the default. Shit people wouldn't even consider saving, and shit people if you win, it's just, oh yeah, I won, oh that's great. It's not, oh holy shit, I won, I beat you, and when you die you go, oh shit, I died, I can't believe I died, I wanted to win so bad. It stopped being that. It became, oh I guess I died, I'll wait for the next game. or the next game. Oh, you don't. Oh, I have like 50 fillers in this game. You want my spot? I'll give you my spot for free. It doesn't really matter. It just matters that we're all taking part. It's like the communism of games or something. Yeah, and I stopped enjoying hosting a while ago. I still did it out of obligation because there were a few people in the community I still wanted to be supportive to, but that really came to a head when I first announced a third prom, and maybe it was just my delusion that people were going to flock to this, thinking like it was going to be like the old proms. People didn't realize what the prom was. They weren't familiar with it. They didn't know what it was. And people, like couples that I thought were really supposed to, like, I really wanted to join, like that really were going to be the star like pairings for that prom, they started dropping out. They said they didn't want to be in it. And from my perspective, like, besides like being in an event that is mine, I think, well, despite my behavior during the faction games, is that the community should really band together and support whatever person is trying to host for the community. Like, if it's for the community, it's for you. Despite it, if it's like a person you don't like, you should be supportive of them, because we're all working for a common goal. As you said, we should put ourselves aside, like our independent views aside, and really support what drives our community instead of this petty personal squabble. Despite that being my belief, I kind of was very active in talking shit about the faction games, the most recent faction games, because, I just didn't really care at the time, and I was just doing what felt good, which was, like, pointing out all the mistakes people made, pointing out where they weren't doing, where they could have improved. And instead of like that being a motivation to improve, it became a reason to push back and really harden their resolve in whatever they were doing, actually preventing them from improving. Well, and if I was like the perfect person, if I wanted to be that perfect person, if I had a really reason to be that perfect person, I would have given him I would have given the faction games a different sort of treatment. So basically, I had like no motivation to be like a model community member. I had no motivation to host, and I made a promise to host the third prom. And basically, I said I was going to do it. And what does Hoshi do? Hoshi delivers. When he promises an event game, it's going to happen sooner or later. So I decided, prom. I'm going to do prom, and prom is really painful to do. Like, even the first prom was, wow, that took like a lot of energy. The second prom even more, because I was going through so much at the time. The third prom was basically like I was setting up my own funeral. I was setting up my own exit game. I really didn't think I was going to start like host another game after that one. And it was like so many things went wrong behind the scenes that I couldn't really even tell anybody or really open up to with, because like I don't know anybody that could actually relate to the problems I was having. I had to enter all my events back in. People weren't uploading the correct images. There's a lot of like, nobody has really hosted like a huge event game, so I can't really talk to anybody who understands or help me with this thing. And as painful as that was, and even the Freds weren't really that excited for the game. That was expected. Like, no matter how shit the hype was, I knew it was just something I was going to do anyways, and I knew it was going to end after this. And during the day of the prom, I realized that people were going to start shitposting the game. Like, they had planned to do this, even though I did my best to make this a clean game without any drama. People were going to bring drama into it anyway. And as soon as I realized that, I took the game to HGA where that wouldn't happen, because I didn't want like my last game, to be like this big fiasco of shit posting. It was a really selfish move, and I admit it was selfish. But that's when I realized I valued myself more than I valued like what I was giving to the community. And as soon as that prom ended, where I think people were not really paying attention to it. There was another game going on and stuff, but at that point it didn't really matter to me. It was just my game, and I finished it and I ended it, and I didn't really look at the threads again for a few months until you called me up and said to do a podcast. Basically, I'm done. I'm not going to host anymore. Maybe if I've explored other places to be in that I enjoy being in more of an HG than I've ever have. I don't think about games. I've seen people host their own Hunger Games in other servers, like basic default like games, and they were really enjoying it, and it still brings a smile to my face whenever I see that. I still love the games. I love what it can do for people, and I love the reactions, and I might even host Hunger Games for this new community I'm in, so they can enjoy it. But I'm done with this community. Like, I'm not going to take this HG seriously anymore. And despite my feelings of checking out, I still think it's nice that the place I left still has people hosting for it, like and DMG and you and whoever else may be taking up the reins. Looking back, I thought I would really wish the place to rot in hell, to die, to turn to shit without me. But after letting all of it go, I'm really glad that people are getting games. I'm glad people are still there. They're still going on. It doesn't really matter or not whether or not I get good wishes, because as you said, it's going to keep going forever. I'm glad you came when the games needed you. I'm glad people are still there, working on shit. It's still amazing. It's basically what I wanted, even though I had nothing to do with it. I wanted to personally leave behind a successor, but I didn't get to do that. But there are still people carrying it on. So even if I didn't get to do it, it's happened, and it's nice. And well, I wish people the best there. Even the haters, find someone new to hate. Maybe you could talk about me once in a while. Bring me up and talk shit and tell people not to be like me. Whatever floats your boat. You're there, you're posting, you're enjoying it, you're looking at it, which means you care about it more than other things. And give Seth the best, people. That's what I really feel about the place now. Now that I'm it's not personal anymore. Yeah, so basically that's all I had to say about the community at this point. If I had anything to say left, I don't have anything more to say about it.
We basically exchanged roles, but now it's the Hoshi podcast.
Well, yeah, I could talk for a while, and yeah, the viewer count did go down, but I think it's gonna come back up when you start talking, Seth. So yeah, you got your next part of the story, man.
Yeah, and I think I needed to hear from you to be able to elaborate on that, because I think one of the things people really misunderstood is that all people see whole relationship together. Because one of the smart thing we did, I think, was that we always separated business, as we called it, and personal shit, and that's why we were able to be on HG without the other's existence being used against the other, I think. Because there was a lot of time where people used a bunch of others people names to get you down, but I never saw much between us two. And I think that was because we were capable to separate the two, and so we could do our shit without
even though
without being a thorn in the other's path.
It was never personal.
Yeah. And I really needed to hear that part of the story from you, because even though I know it, I saw your first prom. I've read it. I fucking saw a lot of your posts, and I'm not one to blame you. I'm not gonna say what you did right, what you did wrong, but just so you know, I never felt resentment to you, and it's not easy to hear that from you, because to me, in my mind, if there was gonna be one guy that was gonna be there till the end, it was you. It was all I fucking saw it back then, and I always respected your passion, dedication. So for that reason, I'm not gonna be I'm not gonna ask you or say whether it is as a AJ fag or as a friend, say please don't give up on HG, because I know I can understand that you did what you felt like you had to do, and that you can be, even though a lot of shit happened, I think you can say that you lived um, a genuine life on HG, and it's not been all good, lots of, but you lived a real thing, I think, and
Too real
I think you
sometimes.
can, I think you can be glad of that, and you know, your contribution, as in games and all that, as much as your shit posting, I think it did have an effect on things. Even if some people are gonna fucking deny that and say you were cancer and all that, you I cannot imagine how AJ would have been if you weren't there, basically.
Well,
So
I say, well, never say never. I might come back. I don't know. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want to do for a few months from now. Maybe, um, but as it is, I don't think they want me, and I don't think I should be there. I think people around me are telling me they're glad I left. Not because they hate me, but they think it's the most healthy thing. Maybe one day when people get over, like, whatever it is they want, like, whatever it is, like, I could do good RP, I could do good games, and that alone, it shouldn't be a reason to, not want me into Freds. But for some reason, they don't. Maybe it's the past. Maybe it's, they just don't like me. I don't know. Maybe they've heard something about me from, maybe there are some people that are trying to keep me out of the community. And, well, they've succeeded, I would say. You guys give yourselves a pat on the back because you've won. You got what you wanted. Isn't that what you wanted? I'm gone, and I'm not posting there anymore. If that's really better for you, then, well, so be it. I've got other things to do. But if one day, if we could all come sit at a table, and if when I have a lot of time, we could do, you could do some games again without all that drama. But yeah, but for the time being, I'm not going to sit there and waste my time posting on 4chan when nobody wants me there. I mean, I haven't given up. I've just put it away, like, really far away. I didn't say I was gonna leave this time. I never publicly said I was leaving, because people say they leave, they're bound to come back. But people who really leave, they don't say anything.
yeah, they got the way they came in out of no.
Whoa, did we lose him?
Hmm?
Oh, I thought we lost you.
Oh no, don't worry, not yet. But anyway, I think you did the good thing to tell your side of the story, because now that I'm gonna say mine, I think it'll make a good parallel between the two, and may explain why one is has left and why has come back, and why the other has come back. Uh, I think I never told you much about who I was before AJ, right?
Yeah, before I shoot.
Yeah, I think it's time we talk about that, because I think that'll also give a hint or an idea as to some to people as to why I value that thing so much. Well, for me, it wasn't as nice as I'd say as you when you were doing uh, remixes on YouTube or that fan fiction and shit. For me, before AJ, I was a pretty good for nothing, I'd say. It's basically, if I can use that term, before AJ, I was some sort of
Hooligan.
a fucking delinquent, if I can say. If I can say that.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, the main point is that before AJ, I was someone that was extremely apathetic, and that may sound surprising, because it seems like I'm always so fucking excited about things, But don't be mistaken that that reason I'm able to be so excited now about things is that before back then it was pretty much the total opposite. So when I was that way, and I was fucking delinquent. So it sounds ridiculous, but I'm not finding a better word for to explain that shit right now. And
You're living the fug
yeah,
life.
well, yeah, basically most of my time was spent outside and doing shit with other fucking good for nothing, I'd say. And yeah, it was basically about finding a way to feel something because I was pathetic, but I hated being that. I didn't know why. I didn't feel shit. I didn't feel as much as other people. So to find my answers to that, I just tried to make uh to leave situations to put myself in context that make me feel shit. Obviously, as some may know, that led to some pretty bad accidents. But
I remember that. I remember exactly where I was, where you sent me, you told me about some shit going down. I was really worried, genuinely worried. Like, I had to stop working, sit down for a minute, because, like, holy shit, no, Seth. Yeah, I remember that.
yeah, I'm sorry to have worried you about that.
Oh, yeah, but I was like, it's just really impressive that, like, somebody on the other side of the earth, like we really care about each other. That's really cool. How we all met. I'm sure you would have felt the same if I was the case.
Well, it was when you had to leave for the army, and I didn't know at first that you were leaving for weeks instead of fucking years. So of course that did mean something.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically the point is that before HG, before I was before I spent my time on the internet, I was just really a guy that was outside and was doing some things not things that will really recommend people to do, just in quest of finding about himself. That's why I think I love delinquent manga so much because it's through characters like that you find the most about a person's really about a person things and all that, and and even though they're portrayed as well, not the kindest gentleman you could find in fucking fiction, but it's it was really relatable at the time because man, there isn't a lot of fucking ways to entertain your goddamn country. Switzerland's fucking stuck for fucking teenagers. It's great if you're a fucking old man or a kid with a family pretty wealthy, but otherwise you just don't do shit.
Yeah.
So I had to find ways to entertain myself, and for that I tried to make contact with fucking people, and whether it be stranger or close friend. I just tried to live situation. I had always a weird way to make a situation, to make so that it wasn't gonna be something that you'd live with someone else. It's really fucking hard to put in words and give examples, but basically the outgoing side of me, it was always very expressive.
But that was like,
But
you had no way to express that.
yeah, and
So you found HG.
yeah, and before HG, I done that stupid bullshit. Well, I had my fucking well, I mean, for the people that don't know, I used to be a fucking arsonist, just so you know. I fucking put shit on fire. Yeah, let's be clear here. Let's be fucking clear. If I'm gonna spend, if I'm gonna spend rest of my years on HG with the new flags, they should know everything about me. I said we were gonna go deep in there, so there's no more hiding. We're just putting all the fucking truth in there.
Well, Seth, no more setting things on fire. The only thing you'll be setting on fire is the threads. Hey.
And that's really that, because some people really don't realize that, but HG, I don't know about you, I don't know about other people, or HG affected them. But AG was basically my redemption as a human being, on all honesty.
Like the moment you won prom. That's what I think was the moment.
Yeah, when I won, yeah, I'll go back to prom later. But yeah, just so you know, to put it, to not spend too much time on there. Me before HG wasn't anything glorious or worth really expanding on. It's as I said, a good for nothing in my eyes. And and then and then I found HG. I first found it on V, for people that didn't know, with V season 1. And V didn't have the other facts. It didn't have any of that at first. It was just events and Anons going happy shit at that. And I found it so fucking fascinating for some reasons, because one of the aspect about my life is that what I'd call destiny has always felt like it fucking me, if I can say that. I always lived a weird connection of coincidence throughout my life. And when I saw the simulator for the first time, I saw how some characters got those canon stories, or just how some events resulted into another. It felt reminiscing of some of the shit that I lived. And so I think I first got my interest in that. I think I remember the first time I felt that connection to the simulator.
Like player 1 sets player 2 on fire from Molotov. Hey, that's me.
No, it wasn't that, but it was when I first entered my first Hunger game on V. I entered 2 characters. I entered Wolf O'Donnell from Star Fox, and then I entered Seth. And the first fucking event that I saw was Seth backstabs player 2 in the back, and that player 2 being the other character I entered, Wolf O'Donnell. And when I saw that for the first time, I had to take a moment, and I had to think about the possibility of this happening. And I just felt like, through this simulator, this fucking chain of coincidence was following me, and I just thought, man, there's something that fascinates me about this, and I want to see more.
That's like exactly the shit that happened to me. You saw that slide, right? That's the exact same thing. That's the exact moment where I said, I love this shit. I'm doing this shit. I'm gonna do this shit. I don't know how to do it, but I'm gonna find out and I'm gonna do it. That's what started on me.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the same for many other people, but I know it was, well, the case for the both of us. And then after V season 1 ended, I just fucking knew I needed to see more of that shit. But I needed something more, because it was great to see all the fucking Anons going happy shit. It was great to see all that sort of human energy going on, because I had been on 4chan for 4 years prior to that. But when AG happened, for me it really is the best of 4chan I saw, seeing all those people gang up together and get so excited about the one same thing. And that really felt that felt like the thing I was searching for in real life, but obviously could not attain, because because it just didn't work in real life like that. But with that fucking simulator, I could live that shit. I could feel it. I could feel something. And from there, I had to go dig the rabbit hole more. I had to go find out more. And so 1 month after the V season 1, I went on B on one random day, and I saw an Hunger Games stream. But it was different. There was those people. There was the characters they entered, but the same characters they entered were avafagging. Well, I didn't call it avafagging at the time, because man, I barely I barely fucking knew what role playing meant back then. It was the only experience with role playing that I had was on some fucking wrestling forum where I think I even told you about that. I had fucking you had to do fights as wrestler and all, and some random referee will decide what wins and what doesn't. That was basically my only experience with role playing at the time. But just when I saw that for the first time, when I saw the people interpreting the events as their characters, for me that shit was, I saw that as genius.
Revolutionary.
That was that. That was, I didn't know, but I just felt like this thing could bring me what I'm searching for, what I'm liking, and I went for it. I didn't think twice about it. I just entered Seth again because it was in my folder, and just from the event I had on V, I just knew it was be this character, and that proved it because the first game I entered on V and the first game I entered on B, both at the same district placement in the two, the last place of District 12. I still keep that in mind because to me that was just fucking destiny to play in there. That was a sign of things to come. And so I fucking participate in my first AJ trade, and I'm this cocky bastard talking shit guy that can that could barely that could barely fucking type because at the time, well, I mean, most of my English I learned it on the internet because goddamn Switzerland doesn't see the necessity to learn English because fucking Italian, German, and that fourth language that we have that only like 500 people on this planet speak is more important than having to learn to speak English. So fucking 90% of my English was learned through shit posting and internet debates. So I had to make use of that experience and make the best trash talking I could do at the time with that. And so I went with it, and I remember my first night of Fiji pretty clearly. The first artifact that talked to me was Eri Akakuga, and this other dude, that I never saw again in the streets ever again. That's still so weird to me thinking back about it. But there was this one guy that was playing this cannibal character. I don't know why, but Ari and this guy were the only two people talking to me, and the cannibal guy disappeared the next day and never fucking saw him again. and well, I just kept on checking B and see if there was more of this street, and I saw it was a daily thing. It was there were a bunch of other people at different hours, and I was like, hey, that's nice, a bunch of different people to talk shit on different ways. I was just so interested in seeing all those different personalities come into play, all those different characters that I didn't know about, and man, I just felt like I'm gonna give this shit a try, and I feel like I can take this shit to, I'm gonna live something great. That's literally what I told myself, what I felt like was gonna happen. And well, that fucking prediction was pretty true. Goddamn, I can't speak. Was ended up being pretty true when since just talking with you now is the proof of it. But yeah, man. After 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 my first days on EG, there uh yeah, you hosted the waiting, and I saw that as my first opportunity to make a big name of myself right there. So while everyone was getting all fancy with their suits and
Yeah.
getting all that shit, all that gay shit, I didn't want none of that. I just fucking shit my first big wall of text, and and I got and I got cricket sounds. I didn't get any replies
Oh yeah.
except one. That replies being Lidl's fingers, and from their start, well, my greatest friendship in this community, and also the birth of the greatest faction in age history, District 12. And so LF and I were just those two guys that that came in that came to your fucking wedding with only one plan in mind, painting the walls red and
Yeah,
and
the
just
red
crashing.
wedding. That shit is so hype, dude.
Yeah, man.
Yo, these people don't even know.
All the District 12 shants.
Holy shit. You know, damn. Just talking about it now makes me want to go back and try making that again. But I know it's not gonna happen, and that just sucks. But it was really hype.
But yeah, it was crazy to see fucking little finger get in the final two. Everyone started going crazy about this shit. The fucking all the fancy faggots turned themselves and wanted to see chaos instead of Junko winning. So they just fucking started screaming District 2 everywhere. And from that point, that was the first time in HD that I felt like something I'd done was
Recognized.
had an impact.
Yeah.
That if I didn't do that, then this thing would have gone differently. And that simple truth of mine is really what kept me going. It was a proof to me because in the real world, basically to now, currently now, I don't need a lot of things to be happy or be or to be to have or to have to or to have to oh putain, or to have peace in mind with myself. I just need to do two things. It's to give my meanings to the things that happen around me, and generally, whatever happens, it's mostly due to me having a say in that. I just like to whenever the opportunity strikes, I try to make things um go the best way they could. I just don't like sitting around and waiting for things to happen like they would have if I didn't do shit. I just like to make things happen. That was that. And when I saw that happen in HG, what I was trying to do in the real world, in real life, and that didn't have as much effect as I wish it could have, but in HG, it felt like it did. And so I just thought, man, if maybe this thing's gonna work. Maybe this thing's gonna lead me to to what I'm to the fucking thing that I'm missing in my life right. That was the truth. So LF didn't win. Fucking Junko won, and she. I rem. Oh man. Nah, nothing. I'm not gonna go.
Not
Go
even
into
for the
that.
viewers who want to hear this shit.
Nah, but basically when LF lost, and it's so fucking funny because I remember the post Junko made after she won your fucking wedding was to literally circle jerk with that class. And
Classic.
no,
That's
no, for
classic.
real. When I saw that shit, I was just so
Infuriated.
I was like, oh man, I was just like, LF, we have to fucking rectify that shit. Oh my fuck. And then I remember one post from that from the wedding that I also really like. I don't know what that person is that made that post, but that person said with a reaction image of a baby, like some a baby that didn't know what was going on, but that was the reaction image. And that guy basically said, he said something along the lines that this kind of things it normally shouldn't happen, but it did, and it feels like we just lived something great. It was something along those lines, and I could relate to that. And I mean, I just fucking felt some sort of magic from that point.
Yeah, like people were not. It wasn't just us. Like people were feeling it too. Like everyone was there feeling the same thing, and that's amazing.
That's exactly that. It was that other people felt the same thing as I did, that like that really did something good to me. It was because I hated being I hated being fucking apathetic. I hated the fact that I could not feel the same shit as others. And the worst, that I could not understand. I could not find a way to fix that shit.
To empathize,
Then, huh?
to feel empathy,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
to
But when I
feel like what everybody else feels.
but when I saw that bunch of faggots, that bunch of neckbirds role playing as anime girls and all that shit, seeing those people just all get together and for one moment feel shit, that just felt good, man. It really was. And from that point, I wanted to feel not only more of that shit, but I wanted to be the cause of it too.
Yes, that's exactly how I felt too.
So, waiting happens, days go by, um, yeah, you announce prom and shit, and then I host my first games. Yeah, the very first game I hosted was also uh, a very specific experience that I really remember. And I think a misconception about hosting needs to be cleared here. Is that, you see, people, when you ask people nowadays why they don't host, and they say, well, they don't want to host for a bunch of people that shit on them and all that basically waste their efforts. I think one of the point people missed is that I remember when I said that I was gonna host, I wanted to give back. There was also the idea that I was hosting for the people that currently hosted. I think people don't take that into account more. They don't see the other host as players too, and they don't think that hosting their games can also be some sort of relief for them. And yeah, I wanted to throw that one out of the way because that's really the first line I made in my very first post when when I announced that I was hosting my first games. It was really, I really wanted to be able to give back the experience that others allowed me to experience for them, and well, obviously for everyone else as well. So I hosted my first game, and god fucking damn, I don't know why, but shit, man,
How'd it
it
go?
wasn't. It went well. I remember it really going well. Motherfucking Endo won that game. And
Classiendo.
Classy Endo. And fucking seeing those people react to my events. Now that's another part that really is the reason I like hosting. And that's still a thing, especially right now. It was to see people basically make sense of the shit I wrote, because I was always a guy that had that fucking huge imagination, but I never knew what use to make of it. I never was good enough for writing, for drawing, for basically I had the imagination, but I didn't have the talent to do anything with it. But when Edgy happened, when I wrote my first event, I wrote fucking 3 arena events in like 2 hours, and I just wrote a bunch of events in just 3 days and all that. And it was so good to find something where I could make use of that imagination. But it felt even better seeing people make sense of that imagination, because that imagination was always both a blessing and a curse, because I could I imagined so many fucking weird shit at the same time, when I was younger, it was really the cause of many headaches. It's been easier as the years roll by, but at some point it really was a pain in the ass, especially when I couldn't make any use to it. But then people find a way to react to these events, and as well as making it according to their characters. It just felt, it just felt, I just felt like I was having a connection with someone, even if I wasn't talking to them directly. Them interacting to my events was some sort of discussion with me. That's all I see. That's all I see. And when I read back some of the replies that my games got, sometimes I love my shit. I love my ass off so fucking much, because some people, some of you fuckers, find some of the craziest shit to make the events you just got work out for your characters. And I found that so fucking funny, and it was just so fucking great. That's one of the many reasons I like hosting. It's really just seeing people make sense of my madness, if I could say like that.
Check the Discord. Check your Discord.
Yeah, that's the post. Yeah, exactly.
You have the entire wedding saved thanks to Yuno saved it.
Yeah,
Yuno has
yeah.
it. Props.
Remember,
You have that. Yeah, I see your post too. I see your post. This is all good shit. People need to take a look at this, see how it used to be. I know that's a meme at this point, how it used to be, but man, if it wasn't true.
It was definitely all real, and that's the innocence you talk back then, and obviously that's something that cannot be replicated by
Like,
now.
look, all these,
environment.
all these.
But I think there is still ways to make real shit happens. It simply needs to be done a way that works out with our AG and 4chan as a whole, how people as a whole have become. Obviously, we're not gonna get that cheesy shit again.
Nah, never. Nobody's gonna do that.
There's still ways, and I want to find those ways, and I'll address them because I've got ideas for it. Anyway, since we're gonna just keep with that topic of conversation where I'm just fucking basically summing up my career, my AG career.
HG career.
AG career. Yeah. So I host my games, and it's just and shit's just great. Then there's a lot of and that's when shit posting started to pick up with Booker.
Fucking Booker.
Booker.
Booker was his shit, dude. Yeah, let me tell you something about Booker. Well, doesn't everybody know who Booker is at this point?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think either of us is gonna say it, but so Booker, before he was Booker, I was shitposting before then, as Morpheus. I think I was shitposting as Morpheus, but the dude who was Booker, he started going like off on like people like openly with his avatar, so I had to go tell him in privately. I was like, dude, you can't be doing that. You can't be like attacking people openly. Like, people are not gonna like you. So, you're gonna have to pick up like a secret avatar to start fucking with people if you're really gonna do that. and I picked a Morpheus, and he picked a Booker, and that's when basically the meme started. Like, I went Michael Cera, he went Jesse Eisenberg. Dude, we literally skipped home to shitpost. Man, those were some good times, some good memes. But no matter like what I did, like you can't touch Booker. He was like the OG, like the biggest shitpost daddy of HG ever.
Thinking back on it, it's pretty funny. Or come all three of us, we're technically arguing with each other. Well, I mean, you say Booker as an avatar, but really, Booker was always a mask, just like Shin was. And even though those two were arguing each other about what the right vision of AJ was. To me, it was just a bunch of puppet show. That's where I tried to come in and I started talking the real shit because man, I wasn't choosing a secret avatar for that shit. And to me, well, I already told you what I thought of Boker. I told I told LF what I thought of Boker and all that. So I'm not gonna spend that much time on it. But basically, June, where shit posting started to start, and people at this point were already worrying about Edgy dying and all that because we were living the days like we weren't sure if we were gonna see it tomorrow. The menace of the mods. We know we were doing illegal shit, breaking the rules and all that. We'd never know when the ban hammer would come, and I think that's one of the reason why B at games because even if you didn't give a shit about the games and you were just here for the circle jerk, you still had to have a game of your own just so you don't be the one that got banned. That's why even guys like Neptune had to fucking bust their ass and fucking awesome games. That's the fear of knowing that Edgy was was
Gonna
under
die.
menace. No, was under pressure, was under menace. It's what's really allowed a bunch of games to be host. And obviously, there's not that worry anymore on Trash because there's really no one to well to get us off Trash because we're on fucking Trash. Well, I'm still not sure about that because Hero, we never know what can happen with Hiroshima. He could fuck off just tomorrow, and that the whole site will be in shambles, not knowing we're gonna pay for the servers and all that. We still don't know. I still go on 4chan not knowing if I'm gonna see it tomorrow. But anyway, June was a very buzzy month. You then hosted your prom and I fucking crashed it. I fucking did what should have happened at the wedding and all that. It's still one of my fondest memories as well because seeing Alti's storyline come to fruition, seeing the things I've done, the things I said, the characters I've portrayed, actually get to somewhere that, and also or that prom win felt parallel to Seth's WrestleMania win, because that's another thing I need to talk later on. His whole similar my career on Edgy was to the real Seth Rollins career on WWE. That's also one of the one crazy thing when I look on the comparisons, it's really pretty fucking crazy. But anyway, I win prom. People are ass mad. It's great. It's Junpei is fucking sniffing in chat.
Riots.
He's gonna ban me from his game.
Riots. people really cared about the ships back then, man. People don't know, dude. And
Yeah,
just
man.
fucking parents. People were pissed off. Endo died with Toph, and they were crazy. They were foaming at the mouth. And my favorite part was when the District 12, the 3 District 12 dudes were just hanging out.
Mario Kart.
They weren't killing each other.
Yeah, man.
After they killed like all the tributes, like all the prom couples, they were just fucking around, not killing each other. And I played SpongeBob music.
and then, well, in true Seth fashion, I backstab.
You took out what was it again? Fucking the not Littlefinger, but
Aang, but it's Aang, but
Stannis.
it's yeah, I think it's Stannis. It's that guy from fucking Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Besides you, they were all from Game of Thrones, man.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of where the word wedding comes from. That's where LF got the idea.
He did Red
It was
Prom
that-
too.
That one wrestling dude and those other medieval guy. It was a great team. And then I backstab Dennis, and then LF just dies.
LF
He
just dies. He did his job.
It was so fucking. It felt so right. It was so great. So. It was so fucking good, and And then what happens shortly after prom? Now some days happen. AJ keep going as it is. Then the day happened where I finally got cuffed for the shit I was doing, and knowing I was gonna spend some time outside of AG, whether I like it or not, I hosted what I thought at the time was gonna be my fucking last two games because I didn't know how much time I was gonna fucking spend in that behind the bars. So I just hosted those games like it was gonna be the fucking last thing I do. And one thing I need to make clear here is that because I really need to make clear how edgy really had an impact on my life and some decisions I made. Because when I got caught for my shit, and they and out of really lucky circumstances, they let me one day at home before going back the next day after to get me there because since I was living alone and all that, they couldn't just fucking take me to jail and fucking be done with it. They couldn't do that. So they left me one day at home, and by that time, I'm just wondering between two things. I was l- that whole day, I spent time uh, um, basically preparing things to fuck off. I was literally about uh, to leave those cunts, and they were gonna come tomorrow to my house, and there'd be nobody. I was gonna go. That was what I had in mind. And then before doing that, I host that last game on HG, and the game goes on. My man Axel fucking wins it as Deidara,
Ah, shit.
and and uh and and I make that last post, and I was really hard to write that post because at the time, hey, I wasn't gonna. I'll tell you, yeah, I just got cuffed for doing some real serious shit. I'm going behind the bars. I obviously didn't fucking want to leave a message like that, so I just masqueraded as a yeah, I'm taking a break, but don't worry, I'm coming back. But I really had no idea if I was gonna do because at the same time I was typing that post, I was literally packing my shit. I'd gave my dog to a friend to take care of it, and well, there was basically nothing left for me to stay and actually just let myself be put in there for God knows how many time. For me, basically, I'd done what you called I'd crossed the line, and and it was either I let myself rot in there or I fucking fuck off. But then but then what happened is when I typed my last post, I posted it, that fucking three part wall of text. I just posted that. And it was the first message in a while, in a very, very long time. The first thing that I typed out, that I said, that felt true, that felt genuine, that was sincerity at its finest. That was me feeling some actual shit. That's a point I really need to bring up because you can obviously imagine how I felt writing that post, but compared to how I was before, that was like two different persons basically. I was feeling shit, and the fucking message that all the replies that happened after it, those message, every single one of them, what you said, what LF said, what Akawa said, what everyone else said, it's really the one thing that kept me from living in secret and basically staying home. If 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 it would have gone any other way, I can't say that I will be there talking to you because I may be still being searched by by all the country for for my crimes while being hidden in some grandma's house on the countryside. No, for real, you people don't realize that the message you said that night is what kept me from leaving everything and yeah. You people gave me a reason to basically spend as much time as I need to in that fucking cell just to be able to go back here and keep doing that shit.
Well, the games can have a great effect. Not only the games, but the community. As much bad as it could do, it also does a lot of good as well. That's why when I host a game, I do it with like the mentality of, if I could host this game, if I could put these tributes into a simulator, and I can make something really great happen and start something, it could affect somebody and change their lives basically. And that's what really kept me going, like hosting my games over people hosting their games. It cost all of us to come together, and not only did it entertain us, but it also put us through all these life experiences and taught us things and changed the way we behaved, and we all sort of grew into something else because of these games. And some people are going to come and say, well, these are just a simulator on the internet, you're just RPing on the internet. And I just can't imagine how wrong they are just by saying that. They don't really know what the power of these games could basically have on people. It's really life changing, some of these things. And I think both of us, when we're on a bed somewhere, we're in the last moments of our lives, we're going to look back as it's flashing before us, and we're going to remember all the shit that happened in HG. Like, it's really incredible, like how nobody on Earth is going to really understand. Like, my family is going to be around me. They're going to be looking at me going, well, what is this bastard thinking about? Why is he smiling? And and I can't, they're not going to understand that I am thinking back to the day where I hosted a prom for like 72 people on a thread on 4chan, and we just had a blast, like sitting in front of the computer. Like, nobody's going to understand that but us. And it's because of these games. It's because we found something that important. And I just really wish people could realize how important these games are, and I wish there were still a chance to inspire people and bring these great changes to their lives with these games. And it's really been the realization that may no longer be impossible, and I wish it was, and I wish somebody would come and make that the case again. And sometimes I think it might be better off starting a new community altogether. But we have what we have, and you guys have what you have, and if somebody could bring that back, if you could bring that back, that would be awesome. Like you said, bring somebody else the same experience you had. You got something great, and you want to give it back, and you should be able to give it back, and the people should let you do that. And I think that's your right if you're going to continue this road of hosting.
That's definitely the plan, man, because I realized that not everyone, the circumstances of my story and my and the care it created, it nurtured for what I have for AJ right now. It's something that obviously cannot be replicated, because it's a chain of events that just led to to who I am right now, to what I think, to how I see things and all that. And I cannot expect someone to to feel that way without the context to back it up. That's why I'm definitely more than ever motivated to do something to change that. It's I didn't come back just to host my old Riggings Mania and expect things to change, because the Riggings Mania was a game I made for the time it was. It was a product of its time. It did what it needed to do at that time. But now I don't expect people to change what they're currently thinking about AJ, to see things differently just by doing the same thing I did before. That's why I'm making a new game, and I'm coming with a different idea. But I think I need to expand more on my story, so just so you get really the fucking idea, because there's still a lot more to it. There's specifically to trash. There's gonna be something I don't know if people no, I don't think anybody knew except you there about that. So I'll get to that. It's something that it's been bothering my mind for 3 years now. So uh yeah, I don't think even you used to. Well, we'll see when I talk about it. Anyway, after that happens, well, they come. I made that last post. I don't know how long I'm gonna be in there. I just know that I'm coming back either way. I don't give a shit how many days, months, or years it take, but I'll be back. And well, as ironic as it was, I just ended up spending 3 fucking days in there. As anticlimactic it is. Like I thought it was. It's so ridiculous thinking back on it, but it's fucking Switzerland. So I just spent 3 days on there. So after that, I just come back. Hey, I'm back from my trip, quotation marks, because well, I didn't want to reveal anything about that just yet, but I go back just in time to see that the ban wave happened. June 29th, the day AJ died, as they call it. When basically that was the date where we were. Yeah, that was the end of the B era right there, and from there, well, the AGA saga started, and a different kind of edgy emerged from that. So basically, Edgia was first made like when 4chan was down one time. It was made by Shion, I believe. And then you took control of it. Basically, became the admin of it, had a bunch of mods and all that.
Gonna go to shit otherwise.
Ah,
It was gonna go to shit otherwise. He didn't even like allow
well,
same images across the board. That sucked. We were actually deleting threads instead of changing the settings, which was the obvious thing to do. So I
oh
realized,
fuck.
yeah, we're gonna be here for a while. I knew like from the big get go, like we're gonna be here for a while. I'm not gonna sit here and let shit go to waste because he's not gonna be doing anything important. I was doing all the work, so of course I thought it was right to do so.
Yeah, and I think Edge on the NG timeline was uh, was a necessity when you think back on it and how it was run, what happened on there, how was the atmosphere there, and how people were there. I think it's really important to to think back on it. So HGA compared to B, what's changed was basically, well, since there was a bunch of, since we no longer we were no longer under pressure of the mods, but instead we were under pressure of ourselves in a way, because we were our own mods in a, well, somewhere, not everyone obviously, but well, basically you couldn't post something without knowing that you'd be seen by another avatar, and that made for what people call the outbox, basically, because no one was gonna say some bad shit with everyone knowing what you have posted the minute after you posted. So it was a time, and that fucking period resulted in something that happened right after Trash was after right after we migrated on Trash. I'll talk about it and why I think this kind of environment, what HG was, is not good for HG, because basically the the shitposting was gone. HG is basically not not during the entirety of it, but the anon posting was gone, and that made for a period where people had a lot, where people kept to themselves what they all thought about each other. So you had this kind of threads that felt, I saw interactions, I saw things, but I didn't feel like I was really seeing the same person I knew. It was like I was saying the same shit I was saying in my country when I in real life when I saw other people. I felt like people were restrained from really. being themselves. And that's what I fucking hated about AGA, and why I tried to get bad people on B with with my partner in crime, Yude. The saga of Seth and Yude. Oh man. So about that.
Back then, well, our HGA stance was we were going to be banned anyway if we went to B. So like, what's the point?
Then I don't know why, but your mic is cutting off for a lot of time right there.
Yeah, I'm turning off the mic when I'm not talking, so it doesn't make a lot of background noise. You can hear me fine, right?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. Well, basically, on HGA, well, even a Littlefinger agreed with this. On 4chan, we were going to be banned anyway, so instead of sending users and separating two separate boards when we were getting little activity on HGA as it wasn't in our best interest to promote games in a place where we would just be banned. And instead of getting banned, we should just stay on HGA until shit clears up. And not spread ourselves thin with activity. So basically that was our stance. Well, Jude was talking about how we were talking to like the admin and saying we were going to get our own board and stuff, but that's all. The talks are all good and all, but we couldn't really move on something that really hasn't happened yet. And I don't really understand what was so difficult for Jude to understand. And after that talk we had, like that intense heated talk, he basically
I remember
turned. Yeah. I mean, like, it was not because I wanted shit to be that way. It was because there was really no other way from how I looked at it. I mean, having big visions is fine, but I wish, some people would have been a little bit more realistic about it.
Yeah, I'll never deny that I was always a bit more of a dreamer than yeah. I mean, I don't know if I can say that because of what I'm gonna say after later on the line, because it's a really weird case. But yeah, I understand. Looking back on it, I was obviously, well, I tried to be the thing I did was that also the reason I done a VD snacks, that comes together. Well, I had a problem with HGA because I felt like it was gonna it was taking sucking off the one thing about HGA that made it HG, and I was scared that if people were gonna spend like a year on it, it was just gonna change things. It was just gonna shift the focus on all that. And so basically, I understand HGA was our only way to continue to do our shit back then, but I could not live with myself just going on there and doing like everyone else. I had to fucking find ways. And I never host on HGA because that was my thing. I just couldn't fucking stand the idea of HGA, and I felt like the damage that HGA did could be seen right after we migrated on Trash, because there was a lot of fucking built up aggression that people kept to themselves because they couldn't say shit on HGA. So the moment we moved to an anonymous board, everyone just fucking started lashing out. And I remember the first day of Trash as being rough as fuck because people just needed to vent that shit. And that's one of the reasons I think anon posting is a necessity in a way, because people need some breaks between hosting and role playing. They need to be able to exteriorize that what they feel and about other people. It's just fucking needed. It's like people will say, why don't you vent in some other place? But what happens in AJ, what's caused by AJ, you need to get that shit out, well, where it happens, or in HG.
Well, I certainly did that without any fucking... Well, maybe I should have anonymously posted too. The thing is, you don't really know. Are those afags who host? Are those people who roleplay and give back to the community? Are those people who really deserve to have their, like, anonymous posts on the board? Like, or are they like just pushing their personal agenda? Like they could be putting like releasing anger that's not from HG onto the boards as Anon. Maybe they could be just like attacking the community with shitposting. Like you don't really know the intentions. You don't really know why somebody's doing something, who's doing something. Yeah, with that, it's just too random. Like if somebody had something to say on HGA, I didn't really block that. It's when they were starting to bitch about the mods and how shit was like, unfair. You really don't really need to do that on a board. You could say shit personally if you want. I mean, you could say what you wanted on HGA. It's just that people knew it was personal. They knew, like, whatever attacks they had on HGA, it was an attack on someone they didn't like. So that when that ended and we went to trash, it wasn't for the sake of the games. It wasn't for the sake of role playing. It was for the sake of gloating. Like, haha, you lost your board. You're not in power anymore. And it wasn't. It was never really about power. That wasn't like my interest. My interest was keeping the games and the role play as pure as possible until we found a new place or until we could go back. That was mine. I never really intended to keep everyone on HGA. If a board opened, then we would go there. But as soon as that board opened, I think it had really nothing to do with HG. The way people exploded, it was just, they couldn't say anything about somebody they didn't like. And as soon as that they were given the opportunity, that shit exploded, and it really didn't help the games at all. It didn't help the role playing, and rather than being part of HG, I think it was just really people who really shouldn't have anything to do with HG anymore coming back and saying something they wanted to say because they felt they were entitled to posting their opinion about it, even though they weren't giving back to the community anyways or contributing. They were just making up for lost time, and now is their chance to say it. And now they're going to say it, even if it had nothing to do with the reality, even if it was their own delusions of whatever they thought was going on. Basically that was it. It wasn't like healthy trash posting. It was going to happen, but I didn't think it was really healthy.
The thing is, I think even if HG had turned out in what could arguably say a better HGA that it was, like if even if HGA had done well, I think the moment trash opened, everyone HGA would have moved there because it's really.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, that was the entire point. When something else opened up, we were going to go back. That was the entire purpose of HGA. And people like to say I failed. Like failed what? I did my job. I kept it going until we found trash. So that was the entire point of HGA. And well, I did my job. So I don't really understand what they're saying when they're saying like you failed. What did I fail to keep the community on HGA? Did I fail to take over the community? Did I fail to, be like the ruler of a king and be a dictator of the community? Well, that wasn't my intention at all. That's just their delusions of power, and they want to blame me for all the shit that's going wrong with the community. But if you really look at it, it's all apparent that HG did what it was supposed to do. It went to trash, and honestly, it's a big fucking load off of my chest. I don't have to deal with worry about what people are posting anymore. So that was all good.
Yeah, HG is a weird time because then OFH happened, and I think it was really a problem of perspectives, and it was the fact that we were put in an environment where instead of being in that sort of unholy land like we were on B, we were in something, in an environment that we technically ourselves created, and from there it's all started with the fucking personal and just the how people are seen in their images, because people saw you as that one guy, and because simply of the role you assumed. And so, because in response to that, people had to feel like they had to make OFH, and then I don't know the details. It's hard to talk for you and imagine exactly what was going on between you and Shion and everyone else that went to FH and all that. I think it was really a problem of perspectives, but people just just had to fucking blame it on personalities instead of the state of things. I didn't like EGA simply because of what it was. Whether it be you that run it or Cheyenne or even myself, I would have never liked an environment like that.
Yeah, well, nobody liked it. I didn't like it either. It was like it was too. It was like, you know, if HG's gonna die here if we are here too long. Even I felt that.
Yeah, I still remember to this day. I think October 2015 on HGA was the most dead HG I've ever fucking seen. The
Yeah,
only
like
person
people thought
that
I
was
liked
hosted
it.
was Moku. The only person that fucking hosted during that month was Moku. And I remember that so well because it was so fucking dead. To this day there's no time in HG that reached that same level of dead. That's why I think people sometimes glorify the old times because they don't know how bad it was. If they think trash was bad, they really should have experienced how edgy it could be at time.
Well, it's pretty dead these days too, so I think they're getting a good taste of it.
But now going back on trash and talk about this board, because there is something that's that one of the other reason why I feel like I have such a responsibility towards HG. While HG was going on and doing its thing, me and Yude were trying to go back on B, and at one point after that heated talk we had, Yude had found Hiroshimu's email, and he had written a big fucking message because it was at the time when Hiroshimu noticed us. He said, "Why are Hunger Games banned?" And he was legitimately aware of the issue. So Yude found his email, and he had him written a big fucking wall of text with it was a very good text. But there was one problem to it, is that it simply was, if you give that shit to Hero, it was simply never gonna make it happen. He wasn't gonna make a board that's called RP. He wasn't gonna list it with
Was it
other
convincing
boards.
enough?
It just wasn't something that could work. And what happened from there is that before sending it, Yude gave me that text and he told me to send it myself. What I did that night was that the text he wrote, I completely erased it, and instead I wrote my own message to Hero. And to put it into perspective, I basically put 10 times more the effort into that message than the letter I wrote to my own judge to give me mercy. I bet it's ridiculous to say, but it really was. I basically begged Hero like a bitch. I just wrote him a message fucking begging him to make some kind of board. It didn't even need to be listed. I suggested the idea as some sort of fucking image dump board that it will have a bigger bump limit and I tried to make it used to it. I just didn't tell him, please fucking give me a board. I need somewhere for me and my and this fucking community I'm in to continue doing our shit. It wasn't gonna work like that. So while being more insistent than Yude was in his original, while also trying to give ideas for how the board will work, I basically suggested half of what trash trash functions have right now. And I don't know, I don't want to I never wanted to claim any credits to that message, because I sent him that. I never had a response, and maybe it was just, I don't know, maybe it was just fucking the biggest coincidence ever. But when trash happened 1 week later after I sent him that message on November, I sent him that message on the last day of October. Trash was created on November 7th, 2015. And I saw that when you put an image in the captchas after making a post, and that it reduced it by 30 seconds, I had to get off I had to take a time for myself and think for a real moment if what just happened was like a fucking coincidence, or did I actually add a fucking N in trash creation. And basically it's so fucking confusing thinking back on it, because I don't know, because when after trash was created, I lurked around ERCs, around 4chan ERC, and I often ask on the different names about how come trash was created, what was the reasons to it, and obviously mods will just say a bunch of different answers to it, needed a containment board and all that.
Well, someone in the Twitch chat is saying, well, Hiroshima Nagasaki doesn't really care about anything but selling 4chan passes.
What?
That Hero doesn't really care about anything but selling 4chan passes.
And that's what fucking boggles my mind. But at the beginning, when Hero first took 4chan, he did some shit. He did create he did create ASP, for example, when they booted off the wrestling generals out of SP and made it ASP. Hero did stuff according to some users' request. That's why I don't know if there's any fucking trash creations basically puzzles my mind, because when fucking Isaiah sent me a link to trash the first time I connected Baton's team, and I saw that fucking board, and I saw what I suggested being features in that. I didn't know, man. I don't know if it was once again a work of fucking life.
Maybe it was a bunch of furries and pony diaper posters made the Steam request as you.
That's what I think. It wasn't just my post that did anything. There must have been other things, other factors. But still, because of that, when I saw that shit, and even though people weren't very happy about it, weren't the most enthusiastic about it. I mean, I remember you being, yeah, what fucking Edge is gonna do on a board called trash. You didn't like it at all, either.
Cause you were with furries and shit.
You there obviously didn't like the idea of fucking hosting on a board called trash. But for me, when trash dropped, for me, I just took it as it is, and I have to do something with that. But yeah, if you're wondering about why sometimes I feel like such a responsibility to us on trash and all that, it's because somehow in my mind I feel like a part of it is my responsibility.
Yeah, you probably had a part in it. I mean, there's no way he hasn't read it, or somebody who works for him hasn't read it. I think you were very sincere in your email. I haven't read it, but it was most likely like besides the people who were just asking to have a place to post all their fucking furry porn and horse dicks, you had something real. Like, you had like people, like just more than degenerates. We were like a community that really would need to use this place.
Maybe he will sympathize with my ESL writing. He could see himself in that, so he went with it. But seriously, when I put the first time I put an image in 4chan in trash reply box, and I saw time 30 seconds being taken off of the post. That I was that fucked up my mind.
Yo,
That
it's even
fucked up
short
my
of a
mind.
pass too, like 10 seconds or something, 15 seconds. That's insane.
That's really, because I could understand the bigger bump limit. I could understand the being unlisted. That wouldn't be features that I would have specifically mentioned. That's stuff he could have come up on his own. But the fucking 30 seconds being taken off, because that's something I said. I obviously didn't advertise it in my message as something so we could have a flag and have less, and have more have a flag post than anon post. It was just something, more of a feature to pass it off as a image dumping board. But when I saw that, I was just, I don't know, man. I still don't know exactly how I should feel about trash, but either way, I can't help but feel that that everything, that whatever happens on trash is somehow my fault. So for that, I have to make up. It's like when you make a wish and it didn't exactly go the way you wanted it to go, so you have to atone for your sins. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, it's like you get the wish, but not like the way you wanted it. It's kind of like the monkey paw thing.
I mean, I was fine. I didn't give a shit about the name. All that mattered for me was just fucking hosting edgy games. We were gonna make it could be called trash. For us, it'd be called edgy. We just give our to it.
Yeah, but people are
obviously,
getting really autistic about it. It's like, yeah, we belong on a board called trash. This community is trash, and you know they were getting real fucking. They were owning it like it fucking mattered.
so yeah, that's one of the other factor to why I see AJ like that, and make some people understand a bit more about how I feel about it. I mean, that kind of shit. It's another one of these things where like I was talking about those coincidences in my life. To see that happen again in HG, it's like that shit is never gonna stop following me. It's like I'm dancing. I'm having some weird tango with destiny. It's fucking. You can't make up some of that shit, man.
Yeah, I mean, you say something, it works, and you know, sometimes people are amazed that something they said is like somebody actually listened to it and tried to make something out of it.
I mean, another thing similar to that, quickly to take a big break out of the edgy career thing, when fucking Seth Rollins himself had that fucking I don't know if you saw it, but he had that commercial where it literally burns down a building on the fucking same month. That commercial popped up the same month I actually burned down my college years ago. That also one of the things that fucking me up. I mean, I don't know about what you fucking believe, if you believe in God, in karma or some shit, but I fucking believe in meme magic. This shit, man, it's all of my fault. I feel such a fucking attachment to all that because of that, because of those fucking events. It's like my own life is some sort
Of big Hunger
It's
Game.
just simulation.
This is a simulation.
Yeah,
What
it's
is this?
the
Matrix
events
shit?
that
What are we, Elon Musk?
seemingly seem all like different from each other, but they have some weird connection. It's just fucking crazy, man.
Like, you didn't feel any of this before HG?
No, there was, like I said, that fucking coincidence was always following me, but with AJ, it's like it fucking doubled up on that. While also feeling like those coincidences mattered, like it wasn't all fucking things I'd rather not have fucking lived.
There could be some fucked up dude behind the curtains up there, writing our lives, making that shit work on purpose. Maybe somebody has like an inspect element on our lives and just making shit happen. Maybe we're rigging our lives so impressive shit happens.
I don't know what it is, if it's mem magic or the rigs themselves, but I can't say I complain much about it. It's a pretty funny thing in itself.
So Seth, do you feel like you've went over your entire, story at this point?
Oh shit, no, we just covered 2015. I've got a shit ton of things to talk about.
Holy shit, Seth. We've gone on for like about 3 hours now.
Nah, no way.
It's 3 hours. I have the time right here. We've been recording for 3 hours.
Well, 1 hour of those 3 hours is just is fucking you talking. So
what? 1 hour? One entire hour, dude? That you're blaming me for this shit.
It's your fault, Hoshi. It's your fault.
All right, shit. I don't think you're up for continuing this another episode. So let's see how much we could fit into this episode. I think I have like another good 1 hour to go. Before I was expecting like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, but fucking 3 hours, that's longer than a Joe Rogan podcast. You know that, right?
What did you expect of your fellow storyteller? Come on, lad.
Yeah, I kind of had an idea we were gonna go deep into this.
Well, anyway, we've got 1 hour. We've got a lot to cover in short time.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to shut up and let you get across what you're trying to get across.
Remember when we asked for Twitch questions? I don't remember either.
We didn't get any Twitch questions.
Good then.
Like people they want questions, but they won't. Well, Dandy Writer asks, why won't Seth fuck my boy pussy? So why won't you do that, Seth? You don't like Dandy Writer?
What the fuck posted? Which boy pussy are we talking about?
His boy pussy. I don't know. He didn't ask about who he was. He just asked why you wouldn't fuck some random boy pussy. You see, this is the kind of questions you get from Twitch chat. You don't get any quality questions.
No matter where you are, still get those. It's just how it is.
Yeah, Twitch questions. I'll go over some posts in the trash thread right now. Let's see. Somebody's triggered that you're acting like you invented trash.
No, like I said, I definitely doesn't. I'm still skeptical about it, as I said. But I still needed to get that one piece of information out of the way once and for all, for some people to understand, and so I could explain why I feel like I have that fucking responsibility towards that board. I definitely didn't create trash. I didn't fucking press the button that made a new fucking board.
But Seth, the fucking Anna and the Fred said so it must be true.
You me cut off. What did you say?
The Anna and the Fred said it, so it must be true. Why would somebody do that? Just get on the internet and lie about things.
Well, that way now you have someone to blame if you leave some bad shit in trash. So blame all your bad experience on me.
Alright, somebody in the threads are saying, why aren't they talking about important stuff like how to make good games? Why do we have to sit through an hour of Seth's poorly accented magical thinking? You're a fucking wizard, Seth. You're a wizard, Seth. Thinking to get anything of substance. Well, I mean, if you want like how to make good games, I have the other podcasts I've done. Maybe I've set them on private, but if you guys want, I could always put them back up for the public.
I mean, about the games thing, I mean that since I'm gonna write about all that Evan guide, I don't see much of the point to talk about it now, and I think it's a thing. It's better to read that than hear it, I think.
Yeah, it is. You need something to look back through.
I mean, right now, what I wanted to do with that podcast is I needed to tell get some edgy shit out of the way because I need someone to talk with it, and it's complicated, but I mostly wanted to talk about. Well, I don't know at this point, but whatever. It's what you get for being live and shit, man. I didn't sleep. My throat is fucking sore. I'm just trying to
Yeah, I have a
say
throat
whatever
cold too. Like, I
feel
woke
like.
up this morning, I'm like, God damn it, just the day to have a sore throat is the day where I have to come back and do a podcast about this shit. Seth, a lot of people are asking me to get their own episode on fucking, on the podcast. Like, it's not like I'm even, like, active in the community anymore. I don't know why people still want to do an episode with me, like I fucking know what's going on. I don't even think there's anything left to talk about, like, the community. Like, people say I left HG, people say, like, I came back to HG because I started posting again yesterday, but I don't think I came back to anything, because there's nothing there. I just RP'd for a bit.
Well, since we talk a lot about the past, I think I can afford to talk a bit of the future here.
Alright, let's talk about the future.
If there's, because I think I need to clear up some things as well as with my return. Basically, what I'd like to say is that the next time I leave HG is either I die, but for real this time, or HG dies before me. It's gonna be that.
HG doesn't die when you do?
If HG, if I remain the only avatar left in HG, I will literally pull off some fucking Edo Tensei shit, resurrect my old
if it's only you, that's fucking fantastic. That means I like 100% of the people in the community now. And I'm loved by 100% of the community. Statistically, that's like the perfect deal. So when that happens, please call me. I might be 80, I might be fucking 90. My brain is probably on some computer in the future. But when that happens, fucking call me. I had this fucking dream once where we kept the community going until like we were able to upload our brains into cyberspace and we could have actual Hunger Games. Like, I just wanted the community to keep going until that day. It would have been fucking sick. Like, we're talking about this shit now, but like, people, like, right now what we're doing, like, role playing on the internet and all this other, like, people would say autistic shit, like, this might be the future of entertainment, like, being other people, like, pretending to be other people on the internet. Like, when virtual reality and, like, being in cyberspace really fucking takes a front seat in entertainment culture, like, we've been doing it for years, like, when this virtual reality shit happens, like, all the backstabbing, all the drama and shit is gonna be actually happening, and we would have been like the first people to experience that, like, before it was a real thing. And when it does happen, like, when that kind of shit does happen, like, when somebody invents some virtual reality Sword Art Online shit where we could be whatever character we want, like, we are gonna be the first people to be on that boat, we're gonna be the forerunners of that. And that's
pioneers.
We're the autistic pioneers, like the people who started trading bitcoins to buy pizzas in their mother's basements. Now it's like the big driving cryptocurrency thing of the fucking world. Like, I think that it's gonna be kind of like that. Like, we're the Bitcoin of entertainment.
The thing is, man, this could very well happen. We literally don't have enough cool go. I mean, for my part, I came back because I finally think I'm able to write another game, and I want to do what Riggings Mania couldn't do. I want to correct the flaws that I had in my previous game. I just want to do a better game, another game for another group of people, for the people that's for more than HG, and I just want to keep going and see just how long the boat's gonna stay afloat. I don't claim that I'm not even sure if it's gonna do any good, but the point is, I want to be there on HG. I want to host that new game. I want to make new memories with new people. I just want to fucking HG, man.
You just want to play the games.
because I fucking realized during that whole year out, it's something that's basically a fucking part of me by now, and I'm glad to say that I'm very fine with it being the case. I'm glad to say I never felt any resentment for AJ. That on all aspect, it's really done. It really did me. It really affect me in a positive way, like way better than fucking anything else could have. I think I wouldn't trade those fucking 3 years for anything else. Even if you told me about all the other things I could have lived if I did that or went out there and shit, I will still keep on with that role-playing shit, on that simulator shit, pretending to be the biggest cocky bastard in AJ history. It's what I'm. It's what happened, and I'm glad it was that.
Well, you know, after the games kind of teetered off for me, like my love for the games, I still have the love for the games, but love for hosting and for, you know, the previous this Hunger Game community. I still have like an appreciation for role playing. You know, I've just found a few other places to do that shit. But you know, it's really fucking frustrating how it's not as simple as pretending to be an anime girl on the internet, which is basically all I just want. But it's never fucking simple. It always has to be some fucking drama, some fucking like people making bullshit rules to how to do it, and it's fucking never easy. You know, Seth, this HG right now, it's pretty nice, you know, compared to some other shitholes that are probably on the internet. So like, you know, you might think like it's very like you might not have any hope for this shit, but it's perfectly fine right now how it is. It could only get better. That's what I think.
That's what I think people need to realize, that the thing is, HG is still in itself, it never lost the potential to reach the same heights as it did. The thing, the tools, the everything is still there. It just needs the right. It just needs a bunch of people to get there and say fuck everything else. We just. And well, obviously you can't just have that happen just by snapping your fingers. So I don't know if it work out or not, but I know that I'm just gonna fucking go in there and go all in. I'm just gonna do that, man. And
You know, I've always believed in the potential for it to, you know, go back myself. I never stopped believing in the potential of it, you know, but I've given up with the potential of the people still in the community. But the games as it is, you know, outside this community, I'm really confident that if I host it like somewhere else, the games could still perform their magic. But right now HG has a lot of freedom, and when the day comes that people could could come together and really revive that potential, you know, I might even consider coming back and start working on shit again. Even though, like, I personally might feel that I might have no right to be part of it because I wasn't there until it was back on its feet. You know, I kind of feel that would be the case too. But if it ever happens, I might even consider coming back, you know?
Mm-hmm. I think you know, because before coming back, I had this whole idea that if I was there, I was just gonna, it was just the best for AG. But then I realized that putting my burden, putting my responsibility on other people's shoulders was the real cowardly thing to do. So if I accept AG for all it is, then I'm gonna make sure it does the same for me as well. I want to really reach the, even more so than I already have, the fucking authenticity that I've been seeking all my life. And I want to see just how far I can feel this thing with HG. I want to feel it with other people. I want to I'm just another host at the end of the day. I'm just another guy. But if my games can at least even just one person make make his fucking night, make him do think, just fucking change something about him, in some way or another. Just having that, I think it's
all worth it in the end.
it's all worth it. I mean, there is no other place than HG that gives you this feeling. You know, I think it was Fixie that called other people that called HG a waste of, and
A waste of time.
no, he called it a waste of talent.
A waste of time. Well, that's like because people don't appreciate it. You know, if people appreciated it more, Fix wouldn't be thinking that. You know, it's just that we get so much hate for doing so much work sometimes that, you know, I don't think Fix was wrong in saying that. You know, he has a point, and maybe he has a different standard for how much shit he's going to deal with before he stops caring about the community. And as I've mentioned before, you know, the community does a horrible job of making people feel like they're needed. Like people feel like they need to improve for these people. Like they're going to be accepted more if they improved. You know, they wouldn't be appreciated. You know, people don't really do that for HG, and I think that's the first thing people have to fix about it. People are supposed to expect great things from their host. That's the only way you're going to get great things from the host, is to expect it from the hosts. And the hosts themselves have to be open to figuring out new ways to do things, throwing away their old methods for new methods. You know, back when Mion was the first person to do backgrounds in a game, even though I disliked Mion and I didn't really agree with him, I realized that he did something wonderful. Like he made a great, you know, he revolutionized the optics of what a game slide should be. And, you know, I'm still have to thank him for that, you know, personally. I really appreciate what he did, even if we had our bad relationship. You know, he did a lot of good shit, and I think that's the attitude we have to have. Even though we shit post each other and shit, when the games are on the table, like none of that shit should matter. We just say, I hate your ass, you're fucking faggot, but I love your shit. I love what you do, and I appreciate it, and we should work together to find new ways to make this game better. But, you know, for some reason people can't get over that personal shit, and even if we're doing business, they have to bring up the personal shit all the time. And that's basically, you know, that just makes the entire community stale and really hostile when it shouldn't be. It's okay to be toxic and hostile, like you said. People need to vent about HG, but when it starts getting in the way of business, when people start tearing business down because of personal shit, that's when it goes to shit, you know.
And yeah, so I was saying about AJ calling it, about 50 calling AJ a waste of talent. I don't know about you, about anyone else, or even him himself, but I can definitely say, because he told me that to me too, and the thing I told him back when he told me that, I said, you're free to think whatever you want and say whatever you want about AJ, but when you call it a waste of talent, don't include me in your mind when you say that, because AJ is the only place that even made me believe I had any of the sort to begin with. Really, it's what it is. It's really, I don't know why it's that. It's a bunch of randomly simulated slides that somehow connect to each other's in ways that you have to make sense of. It's seeing those characters interpreting these events I've written and all that, but it's the thing that gets me going. It's the thing I like to do, and man, even if there was other place for me, AJ being the one where I feel like I belong to is fine with me. I've got peace of mind in that, and it's not gonna change.
Yeah, me personally, even though I found other places, it never really felt like home as HG did. Like no matter where I go and settle in, like it's never going to be as, like, the closest I've ever gotten is
maybe Final Fantasy 14, but you know, I always feel like I've lost a home instead of I found a new place. Like I always have in the back of my mind, I'm here because I don't have that place. And I understand, like, you know, this is your home. You know, if it's done so much for you, and you and I are different in the sense that I've always been seeking to find new things to apply myself to and contribute to. Like even after HG, I've found myself in another community, and I've actually been made like the moderator of the server, and I'm working really hard to improve the experience there, and I'm investing time in my new project, so to speak, and I'm really enjoying my time there too. But on the other hand, like this is really important to you. Like this is you. HG is you. I mean, it's not just another project like it is for me. I mean, it's like a big thing for you, and like the games are as important as you believe it is, and you have like the biggest potential to inspire people to believe that.
I mean, it's no fucking wonder that I think like that about, even with the year that I was away, because when I left AG out of the circumstance that I've already laid out, and I did things for that while I was away. I did things. I didn't wait. I didn't sit around in my room waiting 365 days to go by and to go back on HD. I did things, and it just fucking keeps reinforcing my idea that this is where I somehow fucking work. Because now when the year I lived just now from July 2017 to September 2018, I just, now that AG had taught me things, I thought I could apply myself better in real life and maybe do the thing I tried to do back then before HG, and maybe thought they would work out. And that's what I thought it was gonna work at first. My approach is working, and things happen. But at the end of the day, it always somehow still fuck it up, because it's like, even if I didn't want to, I was still, my fucking existence was a fucking fuck up in things. It's fucking shit to say, but it always ends up that way. So I always have to end up distancing myself. In the end, I always have to make up some big fucking shit to kind of keep what was made together, but without me. And at one point, I just wondered if I had any place, if I really could function anywhere, just fucking be able to have a place that will take all of me, and even at my worst it could still handle me. And well, I had 1 year to figure it out, and the only answer to HG, it's the only fucking place that I somehow don't be too much of a fucking how would you call it? I'm not the only place where I'm not too much of a calamity, I will say.
Yeah, there are other calamities worse than you are, so I don't think you have anything to worry about. Like, what could you possibly do wrong in a place where you could post whatever you want and get away with it?
More so than that, what can really happen in a place where you just get a fucking reason every day to see just how fucking ridiculous the little details are, and just what matters is important? Because it's always those little details that fuck up shit in real life. And in HG, if you don't want them to matter, they don't. I think I will put it that way.
I see.
Obviously, it's so fucking hard to explain all those things. I wish I could be more capable of going into details and just better express myself, but for now, you'll have to do with the...
I mean, like, the more you talk and the more you
do these kinds of podcasts and have conversations, the more you're going to improve in expressing those feelings. Like when I first came to Korea, I didn't really have anybody to speak English with except my siblings, and basically it's a struggle of trying to keep my tongue loose as far as English goes. And the more I spoke and the more I talked in English, I realized I not only kept what I had, but I've also gained more in what I had in terms of speech. So, it's great you could have this podcast, because after this podcast, you're going to be better at expressing those feelings than you were before you did this podcast. Even this podcast is a bit of like a little piece of self-improvement that H has brought you through all its, elements that existed.
Yeah, maybe instead of 30 minutes to write a wall of text, I'll take 28.
Yeah, 2 minutes a day. Maybe you'll be typing and do that like 15 times. You'll be typing up paragraphs in like 2 seconds.
Yeah. God damn. What it's like been? It's been 4 hours by now?
It's been 3 hours and 20 minutes. God damn it, Seth,
go.
you have the record for longest fucking podcast. We've had Okabe, we've had Asgore, we've had DMG, and, well, what do you think? How do you think you've fared compared to the other guests that I've had on the podcast?
I don't know, but I want my podcast to be longer than all three of mine.
Yeah, there's gonna be somebody else that's gonna beat your record soon. If in the future, if I ever do a podcast,
Whoa.
It's gonna be
Hopefully.
Seth Rollins with more shit to talk about after he does his games. You'll never beat your future self, Seth. You'll always be better than you were yesterday.
Let's do a fucking 24-hour marathon of that shit, man.
I have a
One
life,
point
Seth. No way, no fucking way, dude. I got shit to do. Or maybe I could, like, have put out a really long vacation, and we're gonna have to take some breaks in the middle so I could eat some shit in the middle so I don't fucking die. You better watch out. I've seen some 24-hour streams, and like they've passed out. They just fall off their chair and they hit their heads and they go live, like they've passed out live on stream. People are calling the ambulances.
Well, anyway, I've got to keep some talk in store, since if I want to come to Korea, we're gonna have to make up for the discussion there too.
Yeah, we might do a live recorded podcast. Holy shit, huh? I'm gonna bring my mask. You could be in your Seth cosplay. Get a wig.
Don't forget to record a karaoke station. You've got to take me to one of those karaoke bars.
I'm gonna take you to like a fucking karaoke place. Might call some women if you want. I'm not into it, but if you want some bitches.
Nah, man, I just need a fucking mic and a good song, and I'm fucking on. And I'm
Alright.
your fucking man for the night, man.
And a good song and a cup of coffee somewhere, maybe a good buffet. I could do that. That's possible. Or maybe we could go all the way out into the fucking country, and there's a great place where they have like I don't know what they call it, like smoked duck. That place is godly. So, if you ever come to visit, I'll take you out to one of those places. Like, it's freaking crazy. You need to try it for yourself. It's not like anything you've tasted before. I think it's a good place to wrap up. This isn't our, I wouldn't say it's our last podcast. Maybe we'll have some more to talk about in the future. But before we close off, I think there's something that you would take a good advantage of. There's a show called The Actors Studio, and at the end of where they have actors come and talk about their lives, and I think that's very similar to what we've done today on this podcast. And at the end, the host asks the actors a set of 10 questions, and it's called the Pivot Questionnaire. I don't know if you've heard about it, but
Never heard.
yeah, it's a very fun personal survey that asks very simple questions, and from those questions you could really tell what a person is like. So before we close off this podcast, you're okay with that, right? You're okay with wrapping it up for now?
Yeah, I'm gonna let you breathe.
Yeah, like,
I need to keep you alive. For a
Yeah,
bit
yeah,
more.
like for like next time, maybe we'll let some more of that passion build up before we put it back on air, for people who want to listen to it. I think this podcast like has been the most like consistent podcast. People are actively listening to it. Like with the DMG podcast, we've had like 27 people on, and like it was falling and falling and falling. But with our podcast, the people who came on pretty much stayed. They've tried to stay. They tried to stay on and listen to the entire thing. We've killed the Freds with our podcast, and I think we're gonna go ahead with the questionnaire right now. Then,
Let's go.
all right, let's go. All right, first question is 10 questions. What is your favorite word?
Will.
Will. Okay, that's very inspiring. Like, okay. What is your least favorite word?
Uh. Um. Shit. I think I have it in French, but I don't know the exact translation for
Oh,
it
you
in
can say
English.
it in French.
Well, I'm not so sure it's exactly that word. It's weird. I know what I like, but I don't.
But come on, you can say it in French. You know, the show says it. You know, allows the actors to say it in whatever language they want.
Uh,
Maybe you could put it in.
shit, man. I don't know. I don't know.
You don't have a
I-
least
I-
favorite. You don't have a least
I'm,
favorite
I'm,
word.
I'm gonna give you. Go back to that question after. I'll give you an answer.
All right, it's not Seth dog.
Well, shit, man. May as well be.
Yeah,
I
might as
kind
well.
of like dogs. I kind of like dogs, so I can do that.
All right, maybe a Seth goat. Okay, number 3. We'll come back to number 2 later, as your request. Number 3. What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Oh my fuck. Oh shit, that's a good one. Uh, Man, I have this weird thing where I put my hand to the head like a gun, but instead of being a gun, I turn it around like I reverse it. And when I pull the trigger, it's like I put myself in a state. It's like a fucking reaction thing. When I do that sign, I just get. It's like I tell my brain, we're in that mood now, and we're gonna write some shit. It's like,
It's like a
That's what turns me
physical
on.
ritual.
yeah, I think that I made that fucking sign at a free spawns for when I saw. Oh yeah, I think that question just gave me an answer to my list. So I'll go back to that. But yeah, basically, I'm not exactly sure where that sign come from, but when I do that, I'm fucking on, man, on all fucking aspects.
Awesome. All right, that's a good answer. Number 4. What turns you off?
Mm. Honestly, self-deprecating humor.
Uh-huh. I know that. I know you don't like when people get on the threads and have a pity party.
Yeah.
Okay, number 5. What is your favorite curse word?
Curse word, huh? Oh man. In English or French?
Any language. Like fucking who was it again? Like Pam, what was her name again? Padme from Star Wars. The Star Wars prequel was on Actors Studio, and her favorite curse word was in Jewish. So I think you could have one in French if you want.
Oh man, there's so many good ones in French. That's the problem.
Oh, like you remind me of that fucking scene from The Matrix Reloaded from Merovingian. He's like cursing in French is like wiping your ass with silk, as he says. Is it true? Is this true? Is cursing in French like wiping your ass with silk?
It's literally the funnest thing ever, man. It's so fucking ridiculous.
Cursing in French. Well, can you do that for us? I mean, no pressure, but if you can.
Yeah, let's go.
Just,
of my favorite
yeah, your
curse words.
favorite French curse words. Don't just limit yourself to one. You could have a few if you want.
Salaud! Scélérat! Couillon! Connard!
Damn,
Tête de bique!
it's fucking cheesing up this fucking podcast. You smell the cheese. I smell the cheese and the baguettes. Shit, man. That sounds good. I don't know what any of that meant, but it sounds strong. And I wouldn't even be mad if somebody said that to me.
You literally should learn French just to be able to curse someone.
I wanted to learn
Because-
French when I was little, but my uncle told me don't learn that faggot shit, and I don't know. I never got the chance. All right, number 6. What sound or noise do you love?
Oh, yeah, definitely the sound of the waves.
The waves. Nice. Number 7. What sound or noise do you hate?
That fucking construction site noise, because I've got those fucking fuckers near my house since over a year, and their fucking noise are starting to piss me off a bit.
Drilling and pounding and your house starts shaking.
Oh, fuck that shit, man. Did you know those fucking cunts literally made an inundation in my cellar? Fucking
dug your
incompetent
cellar?
cunt. They fucking dug everyone's cellar. The fucking like the roof, the floor behind my house was full of water. Those fucking retarded cunts, man.
Alright. I had some gas pipes constructions the other day and I couldn't fucking sleep because I could deal with the noise with some earplugs, but you can't really do anything when your house fucking shakes. Alright, number 8. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Can I hosting in AJ is a job?
Yeah,
No, but-
hosting as in HJ, well, if that's a job to you, then yes. Something
But
else. What would you
seriously,
like to try?
There was something. If there was one job I wanted to do, it was teacher, because that's the job to me that was the closest to making meaningful human contact.
Ah, very deep. Very, very
And
deep.
and I thought it'd be a big irony in itself, because I was like, every one of my teachers called me their worst student, so it would have been a nice irony.
Yeah, and then you'll be calling your students the worst students. Like you did with Asgore or something. Well, that's a joke, so not serious. Number 9. What profession would you not like to do?
Oh man, definitely waiter. I am so fucking how do you fucking say that in English? Shit, wait, I'm loading up dosers. Yeah, I'm so fucking clumsy in reality. I can't fucking hold a plate with like more than 2 glasses on it without it fucking flying across the other side of the room.
Maybe you could be a clumsy maid. Be a moe maid. That's your job. Yeah, you're supposed to spill the tea. If you're good at you're natural, Seth. You could get in the maid outfit.
Oh man.
All right, Seth. We're on the last question. It's the home stretch, man. It might be a big one for someone like you. So number 10. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I would like him to say, that he didn't let me in heaven because of oh shit, wait. Not that I say some bullshit. Yeah, I would like him to say that that he let me in heaven not because of the kind of person that I was or the good or bad actions I did, just that hell just that hell could not contain me, so he had to put me in heaven.
That's pretty badass. That's fucking badass. Alright, I think we've finally, with the good thing about this podcast is that you can actually hear the voices of the people, and they're not just messages or images that for you to abuse. You know, they're real people. You could talk to them. They have their stories. They have personalities. You know, they're just like you. They're just a finger touch away.
That's the thing. Like I said, you may not believe it or not. Maybe some people just would write more than 2 fucking words about me, but maybe I have fucking 7 lines of text for them in return. It's that I feel so differently about so many different persons that really makes me glad of whatever the way I act in HG and the things I've said and all that, because all those fucking actions I did led to feel that way about each person's, and I'm really glad to be able to feel that way about people, because just before the accidents happen and before I start going the real bad path, I'd almost given up on others, because despite my efforts, despite my approach, I just never felt like I would connect with another person on a deeper level, on the level it could connect. But HG and the persons in there managed really are the thing that made me have hope in that again. And even if some people just don't fucking feel any particular about me, well, I'm glad to say I feel, well, the opposite way about them, because I've read so many posts, I've read so many even those little things people put in their posts, and I think they're things that people are never gonna get it, that no one read their stuff. I read them and I saw those things result to the way they post after and all that, and it just feels, man, it feels nice to have seen. It's kind of fucking weird, because HG is that thing where the whole point of it was to not be yourself, it was to pretend to be another character, and through that, it's actually with that I feel like I got to see
The
other
true
people at all they really are.
At their most honest.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you fucking RP your shitty self-insert, your fucking HG fags. Why don't you get some good RP? Well, just kidding. I understand your points. Yeah, but people like, through their irony, through their facade, through their acting, you could really tell what their intentions are. You know, even if people don't feel like they're saying anything that people will read, I mean, people do. And I think, you know, the most important thing in HG is making sure people realize that they're noticed. You know, making people feel like, making them realize and remember that somebody's reading their stuff and they care and they appreciate it. And we should be doing that more often in HG.
Yeah, I always thought that if for some fucking reason I wouldn't be able to host anymore, or even RP, if there's one thing I could do on HG, would be to be like some kind of I don't know if you call that a chronicler, but just someone that keeps record of everything that happened, like a timeline, and every single person, just to let them know that people remember them, that they exist, and that's all they were. That's the friends they made in HG. That's the persons they didn't get along with. I just always felt like that. Well, I want to do that as well with this run on HG. I just want to keep like more memento of things that happen, because the whole screen cap culture as well, with the events and all the other stuff, just keep records of it. Just show that what happens in modern HG right now in this HG, it the amount of it, the things that happen in there can just be this. Everything that happened back then can just happen just as much as now, just if people get together and just start caring about the things that actually matter.
That's the hardest part, getting people to do that. Well, we still have all the records. We have even if you have the good stuff, we have the bad stuff. But you know, the good stuff is the bad stuff will never be as bad as the good stuff is good, and I really do believe that, especially with the wedding.
Same.
You know. All right, Seth. Officially, we've been online for 3 hours and 40 minutes. I think your future self is shitting himself right now. So, and I'm getting fucking phone calls asking if I could take their calls. So, I've reached my personal limit for this podcast. I'm pretty sure you could go more, but you said you were going to be busy if we didn't get to do this today. You going to be off to do something?
Well, I've got to, because while I'm doing HG, I also don't be fooled. I also do other things, and for once, some of my friends have got some days off of their.
Wait a minute, Seth. Are you telling me that your entire life is an HG?
Nah, but just the only thing I'll order plain than HG today is basically tonight I'm doing some video night. With the lads, gonna play some SNES games and WarioWare.
Can't believe Seth has friends outside of HG. Holy shit, my mind is blown.
Hell yeah, man. That's the thing. That's what I fucking love about right now, is that the things I do outside, they like contribute in to me and how I am in HG. It's like I've got the. Because sometimes I hear about, oh man, I left the gym, now I have a social life. I never understood why people couldn't balance both. Like, one doesn't prevent the other. Like, sometimes I fucking host while I had a friend over and they were watching that you know? Never been secretive about it. They all know about my games and shit. They all know, I told them about HG. And fucking man, if you know, you won't believe that, but I could dig some chicks because I talk about HG, man. You don't know what it fucking means in this country to say, yeah, I've written a game in English. You've got all those chicks saying, oh Seth, you've written something in English, that's so special. Brother, man, you will know. It's so fucking funny, or sometimes they impact my social life sometimes too. That's a story for another day.
Yeah, you should call that move the Riggins Mania. It's fucking the dating tactics. You should start a channel, you know, picking up chicks with Riggins Mania. Yeah, I thought you were gonna be busy because you were having a kid or something, because you were so fucking fly with that picking up chicks deal.
Nah.
Alright.
Still a virgin after 22 years.
Ooh, yeah, that's good. You keep your wizard status, Seth. You need that magic for HG.
8 more years, my man. 8 more years.
8 more years of graduating fucking wizard college.
You know it.
Alright, Seth. Well, thanks for coming on. It's been
Thanks
a pleasure, and you know, there's not a lot of people that would like convince me to get off my ass and do a podcast, even though I've left the community. Yeah, there's very few people that I would do that for. Maybe Okabe, maybe Asgore, maybe a few other people. But I really can't name like anyone else. Like when you messaged me and said you want a podcast, you know, I immediately said, well, I have to do this. So, I certainly, if you want, and if you believe that you have the topics, if you have things you want to say, like enough of that, you know, I'd be happy to make some time and have another talk. You know, not even about HG. I just enjoy talking. So I'm not really going to be updated on the community either. So if you have any stories about success stories about HG, I'll be happy to have the podcast and let you air your experiences here.
We'll make sure to do so, my man.
All right, any shout outs, Seth? You want to do any shout outs?
Any shoutouts?
Yeah, anyone you want to shout out at the end of the stream, at the end of the podcast?
Honestly, I'd just like to say thanks to anyone that ever fucking replied to one of my posts. I say anyone that ever had some sort of conversation with me, that it be through a shit post, it be through RP, that it be through hosting, it be about real life. I'm just glad. I can honestly say that I'm glad that even I will not say that I like everyone equally because I'm human. If I said I like everyone equally, that wouldn't be true. And I think it's great that everyone gets to feel so many in so many different ways about so many different people. It's a proof that what I lived was real shit, and that you were too, and all of you were the real shit too. And so I'd really just like to thank anyone that just ever gave me a fucking post to reply to, because I think I can say that I've never regretted a post. I made mistakes. I made something that maybe I should have made, done things that maybe I should have never done. But it is what it is, and at the end of the day, for what it leads to, that person I am. And I'm just glad that in some way you were a part of it. So I thank you for that.
Yeah,
And shout out to my man Viper, the legend!
Viper! Viper is forever. All right, thank you, people, for listening to the podcast. We're gonna have to wrap it up here. So, well, before I go, I'll also thank the people in the chat. Loser Class Hero, Carlton, Fluffy Tail. He went to bed, but thanks for tuning in. Peachy Peacha, and Dandy Ryder. Let's see who else. Castelloid, Madao, as you all know, classic HG old fag. I wonder if he has that goatee yet. Nibba with a rocket launcher, he's been on. Thanks to Gas Can, who were one of the first people to be on the stream. That's all I can remember for now. Alright, so Seth, say goodbye to people in HG land.
Damn, some of you motherfuckers really stayed up 4 hours to listen to some wrestle dude and an anime fag talking? Holy shit.
Yeah, I know.
Props to you all!
Alright, see you next time, boys. That will be all.
Beautiful. Lovable. Kiss.